Okay. Thank you, everybody. Welcome for the Selectmen's meeting for March 4th. We already read the agenda and did the pledge earlier when we opened and went into executive session, just so everybody knows that. So next on the agenda, we're going to discuss come to terms with a contract for Bill Keegan to become the town's next town manager for the rest of this year, starting around May 21st. April 21st, I apologize, and then for the next 3 years. So, Lorraine, would you like to speak on this?
I'd like to start off by thanking Mark and John and Leo and Bill for working together to come to this agreement, and also want to thank the screening committee again for the great job that they did, and thank the board for the work that they did on this, the whole interview process and the contract negotiation. So I move that we ratify the agreement for Mr. William Keegan to be town manager, effective approximately the end of April through June 30th, 2017.
Seems like a long time from now, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sure does.
That's the first.
I'll second that.
Okay, any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, welcome.
Thank you very much.
And welcome to Foxborough.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. It's truly my pleasure to be here tonight. And thank you to all for placing your confidence in me and to working out the contract. I mean, it actually wasn't that difficult. I mean, it was just a matter of getting everybody together was the hard part. Was trying to work on the schedules is always a challenge for everybody. But it was. I appreciate the work that went into this, and I know that I'm very grateful for everything you've done. So I'm really excited about starting. I really am. My board's meeting this week, so I know you all appreciate the fact that meeting together is important to try and talk about the actual date. So we're going to work on that this week and finalize that on Thursday. So we have a meeting this week. I'll be presenting my fiscal 2015 budget that same night. So we got a full agenda that night. So, but we'll hopefully come out of that with an exact date. I have a couple. We've tried to narrow it down, so it's actually close to what Mark had talked about. So we should get close to that number. So we're going to try and get that done. I just want to say that this is it's like you work your entire career to get to a position where you can go and work in a place that you really that you can actually finish your career in, and I think this is going to be a really great opportunity for me. I'm really excited about what the prospects are. I mean, the quality of life in this community is really primary to me, and I think it's primary to all of you. And it's important that we balance that with all the important issues that are faced in this community, balance the business community's needs as well as the residents' and needs, and as well as the education and all the services that go with it. There's a great staff here. I'm looking forward to working with all of them. I'm looking forward to meeting all the boards and committees, establishing my relationship with all of you, and establishing my relationship with all the people in this community, because together we can do a lot of great things together. And I think if we can share that vision and develop a vision that we can both work on together, I think it'll be a great thing for all of us. So thank you very much. I'm really, really pleased to be able to finalize this and to set on a new course. So thank you.
John?
No, it was quite a process from beginning to end. I know we began this last September. Lorraine was sort of pushing us to get it started. I'm glad you did. The end result is great, and again, we had a pool of really strong candidates. We decided as a board unanimously to focus on Bill. We spent about it was close to 2 weeks going back and forth on some terms and conditions. They all worked out. Really looking forward to you starting sometime around mid-April. Yep,
that's the plan.
A lot of work to be done, but we're really glad you're here.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Ditto. Looking forward to getting to know you and working closely with you, and really look forward to accomplishing a lot.
Great. Thank you.
Welcome.
Ginny?
Yes, and I echo those sentiments, but I just want to assure the people of Foxborough that you will be coming in working before your official start to get up to speed.
Right.
So you will be, by the time you're ready to start, you will be ready to start?
That's my plan. I don't like to just park myself in an office and just and work on some things. I like to hit the ground running if I can. So I've already done some preliminary work, but very preliminary at this point. But now I can really focus on working on some things and finishing my work in Dedham as well.
We appreciate that. Thank you, and welcome aboard.
Thank you.
James?
Yeah, very optimistic and appreciative of everything that the screening committee did and all the meetings with you.
Great.
So don't want to be repetitive, but I look forward to it.
Same here, Jim. Thanks.
Sounds like you'll be coming in, and the new chairman, I'll be coming out of the chairman position. So I bet tell you, Bill, on top of, I think we had a great process, and we got the guy we wanted. And but I also would be trying to find the word, but without Bob's help to guide this board for the last almost a year, I mean, as I came on, Bob has been pretty much our acting town manager, and he's done a great job, and I appreciate that. So it's going to be a good transition, because I think he's leaving voluntarily.
Well, if I could just say the same thing, Mr. Chairman, it's really tough to be placed in that kind of position, and I fully appreciate that, and I'm grateful to all the work that you put in, and I look forward to working with you in your real position.
Right.
In my town clerk in Dedham speaks volumes about him. So we're really. But Bob has done a great job, so I'm really looking forward to that.
I'm looking forward to it as well.
Thank you.
Okay, and a little vacation. So
Yeah.
Bill, if Bob, you could pass Bill the contract, and you can sign all three. And Randy, if you can sit next to Bill and sign it too, please.
Do we have a pen that works?
We have one in the budget.
Okay.
You gonna put that pen on your trophy cabinet?
There you go. Today's the 4th, right?
Yeah.
Boy, how you doing?
Congratulations.
Good. Thank you.
The other page. Well, they're already faster than me, Bill.
Sign as many times as I do. You get used to that for a while. I still have that Catholic school approach, though.
I didn't do well with penmanship.
Okay.
Bob, if you could bring those to Jimmy's side, and we'll sign right down the road.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Rats.
Hey, thank you. Looking forward to it. Yeah, same here. Thank you.
Everybody's using a black pen.
I got one.
Thank you.
Make sure it's open.
I just wanted to say I was planning to bring my family here. What's remaining members of my family are here. My wife, my daughter's in New York, of course, but my son is under the weather, so unfortunately she's home with my wife. So but we'll have plenty of opportunity for them to meet you all as well. So.
Town council will be here tonight, Bill.
Okay.
He just needs to review that. We'll have him
Sure.
sign off on that, and then
Very good.
we'll distribute them through Leo.
That's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Bill, thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Pleasure. Thank you. Thank you. Look forward to it.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Mark might not be here when you come back.
I knew that was coming sooner or later. Okay, moving on the agenda, 710 Bill Yukna.
Citizens input?
No, we just did, oh, citizens input, I'm sorry. We did not have citizens input. Is it on the agenda?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Anybody for citizens input? Please, Mr. Brown.
Pretty easy. David Brown, 17 Merrigan Way. And I just want to call your attention to the street lighting on Foxborough Boulevard and Judge Warren. Over the winter, I've seen more and more lights go out. There's probably more lights not functioning now than not functioning. And I've called the highway department a couple of times, and to be honest with you, I didn't leave my name, or, I just left word that maybe somebody could go down there and take a look at the lights on Foxborough Boulevard.
Okay,
So that's all.
Bobby?
Well, I think the process, Roger Hill's here, he can correct me if I'm wrong, but Highway gets notified, they notify Verizon or National Grid, and National Grid goes out and does it. But Roger can tell you from personal experience that it takes 3, 4, 5 calls sometimes. So Roger has a note of that, and we'll follow up on that. That's on Foxborough Boulevard,
Yeah.
near Judge
The whole
Warren.
block over
The whole,
there.
okay,
It's all the same kind of lighting.
all right.
Okay.
Anybody else for citizens input? Okay, seeing none. Okay, chairman's update is you have a new town manager. 710 Bill Yukna for a MSA Statement of Intent with Borough School. Welcome, Bill.
You all have a copy of the,
I do.
Yes.
I'll try to do this quick because I know you have a busy schedule. Most of you were on the board last year when we presented this. And if you read the article, really, what has to happen in this process, the school committee voted last night the same wording, other than the fact that it says school committee instead of board of selectmen. It's the first 2 requirements within the process. The actual statement of interest, we have a draft right now that is pretty close to complete. Has all the wording in it. We're just kind of wordsmithing it now to try to make it a little bit more attractive to the MSBA. The requirement basically calls that, the Board of Selectmen take this vote. It authorizes the superintendent of schools to actually present the MSBA with a statement of interest to do the Borough School. And it does not commit the town nor the taxpayers at this point to any financial obligation. It is strictly that we are supporting the fact that this process would go forward to them for their review. They will come back if and when they do decide to approve a project like this. They come back to us. It's supposed to be in about December timeframe, and at that point you get into the formal, financial ramifications and having to present it to the town and get the support at that point as to whether the project will go forward. If the town does not support it at that point, it dies. If it does support it, then they continue to work forward with you. So this actual wording, as you see it in that handout, has to be within your minutes for tonight's meeting, which then have to be approved and signed at your next vote, and that's what I have to submit along with the package that goes into the state.
Okay, so you don't want us to vote tonight?
No, I need you to vote to accept this wording, but I also need your acceptance of the actual minutes, the final copy that's signed.
Okay, yeah, we went through this with another prior, okay. Okay, Lorraine, you wanna make a motion, or John?
I'll do it. I move that we accept the wording of the statement of interest as submitted by Permanent Building Committee?
It's actually submitted by the school committee.
School committee. An application to the MSBA for grant funding of the Borough Elementary School renovation expansion.
Second.
Any discussion?
Just under discussion when people, I've seen this come up through the ranks from the CIP for a number of years in the studies. Foxborough, as you know, is not in the business of knocking down schools, and we missed all of those opportunities from before where towns let their buildings lapse and then the state comes in and gives you money to rebuild it. I think this is very important to make sure that the the roof, the MEs to the windows, the same stuff that we did the high school is addressed. So very proactive, and I know you and the school committee's worked on this for a number of years now to get it to this point, and it's very much needed. So
This actually, just for your information, this goes back to all the way to a 2001 study that was done on the high school, the Taylor and the Borough, highlighting all of the issues. It's a very thorough study, and it's ironic, but we've done a very good job. Obviously, one of the things was the high school, which we have done. The Taylor issue was roofing and handicap accessibility from the exterior. We've done that as a community. And so this is really kind of the final piece, although the Taylor needs additional work down the road. This is the biggest step that needs to be done. And the amount of work that has to be done triggers all of the code compliance issues. So that's why this to Jim's point, this is very important that we kind of present this the way we do, because we can't really piecemeal it. It needs to be done in one shot.
Okay, great. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Thank you very much.
Bill. John, if you could get the,
Public hearing?
yes.
The Board of Selectmen, acting as the local licensing authority pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 140, Section 181, and Section 183A, and Chapters 136, Section 4, Town of Foxborough Revised General Bylaws, Article 5, Section 6, and also Stadium Rules and Regulations, will conduct a public hearing on Tuesday, March 4th, 2014, beginning at 7:15 p.m. in the Foxborough High School Media Center, South Street, to review the application submitted by NPS LLC for the Mexico versus Portugal soccer match. All events are proposed for Gillette Stadium. All applications for these events are on file at the Office of Selectmen. All interested parties are welcome to attend.
Thank you, John. Hey, Jess.
How are you doing?
How are you?
Good. There's one correction to the document that was forwarded to you on the approval from the committee, and it's on the 8th bullet down. It corrected to read, currently parking is not included in the price of the ticket.
I think that satisfies about half the crowd I have here today, then. Okay.
Well, thank you, Mike. Apologies for the miscommunication on that particular point, but to reiterate what he said, parking is not included in the price of the ticket, so we will be charging standard parking and have a full parking operation in effect for this event. We are requesting Friday, June 6th for the Mexico versus Portugal international soccer match. This event, similar to the last 3 international soccer matches that we've hosted at the stadium, are not promoted by the Revolution. They are a standalone entity, which is the promoter. They are familiar with the facility, they're familiar with the town and its bylaws. They've been here before, and most recently in September, and had a successful international match. We are requesting a start time of 8:30 p.m. and subsequently a gate time of 6:30 and a lot time of 4:30. This will be known as an international friendly match. We're anticipating approximately 50,000 in attendance, and all of the seating for this event is reserved. The ticket prices vary greatly. They begin at $28.50 and go all the way up to $214.70. We will be hiring translators in both Spanish and Portuguese for this event, and we will be sending out informational email prior to the event that brings all of the attendees up to date on stadium policies, traffic recommendations, lot opening information, and stadium prohibited items in the stadium. With that being said, we anticipate this being similar to the event that we had back in September and the previous 3 that we've had, which have been successful incident-free events.
Any questions from the board, James?
No, it seems like everything's complete and pretty much the same package and the same proposal that was made before. I don't see many changes, correct?
This is June 6th, so this is prior to any discussion regarding insurance.
Yep.
Okay. Jeannie?
All set.
All right.
All set, thank you.
John?
One question on the way everyone's going to be arriving at once. How was that handled the last time, and was it chaos, or did it work out?
It worked out well. We ended up having a relatively staggered start time. The event in September was on Tuesday evening, and with this being a Friday event, we anticipate even more of a stagger because people will be most likely getting out of work a little bit earlier, so we shouldn't have as much of a crush. It does create some traffic jam, so we're working with Mass DOT to make sure that all of the digital signage on Route 1 and on 95 that is applicable to this event will be flashing notifications, preferably 5 days in advance, but at least on event day, so that people are aware, commuters are aware there might be some traffic delay. And we're also working with the CSX and MassDOT to potentially have the train run on those for this event, but it becomes a little bit more of a challenge to get the train to run with CSX using the tracks on a weekday.
And one other thing, it says it's anticipated at this time that North Street will be off limits. Was it off limits the last time, or is that?
It was blocked off for the September match, and it'll be a decision that's really made by the chiefs as we get closer and as we have a firmer grasp on what the attendance number will be.
Okay, thanks.
All set, John?
Yep.
Jess, I've had a couple of people ask me about, especially preseason football games on Thursdays and Fridays. They forget all about them. They come home, they can't get off 495. And then a couple of my friends, I actually text them that day and say, don't forget, there's a game. Come through 140 in Norfolk or whatever. And is there a way that the stadium could set up a email to, or probably a text, to notify anybody that wants to sign up for that notification? So the day of the event, it goes out in a mass email or a mass text or a Twitter or something, just to remind everybody, because people get so caught up and busy in their lives, they just forget. And I have a couple of friends that forget every time. And it's like...
Yeah, it's certainly something that would be useful. We, right now, our current Gillette Stadium, all of our social media does publicize those events the day before and then the day of. If we wanted to do something more targeted towards residents, it would definitely be...
Even Walport, if anybody wanted to sign up for this and you say, okay, the stadium's open, because you obviously, the ticket buyers get emailed, they get notified. If you know, give it a shot. If somebody just wants to sign up for this direct email notification the day of the event, and please be aware the traffic issues are going to be, you know, no matter what the event is. I think people would really appreciate that, and I think it would ease up the, you know, a lot of businesses too. They, you know, like Mom's down there and some of the other businesses, they forget, and they got people come in that just can't get there. You know, for that 2-hour period. I'm not saying it for the whole day. So if we could look into something like that, I think that'd be great.
That's an excellent idea.
Okay, thank you. This is a public hearing. Anybody from the audience wish to be heard in this matter? Seeing none, entertain a motion.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Moved.
Seconded by James. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Okay. I'll entertain another motion.
Okay, I move that the Board of Selectmen license the Mexico versus Portugal soccer match to be held on June 6th, 2014, and at 8 o'clock, you said?
8:30.
8:30, okay.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. We're,
Couple minutes early.
3 minutes early, so we got to, I guess, do we go to quick action? Get a few action out of the way? Except there's a lot of action tonight, too. Okay. John, you're on.
Let me just find my list. Oh, it's right here.
I watched that. How's that? Yeah. What you think I was just myself?
Okay, action item number 1. I move that the Board of Selectmen appoint Carolyn M. Godin of 151 South Street to the Foxborough Cultural Council for a term expiring on 10/12/2016.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, John.
Okay, item number 2, I move that the Board of Selectmen appoint Paula Bishop of 15 Wilkinson Way to the Town of Foxborough Cultural Council for a term expiring on 10/12/2016.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Third item is a gift. I move that the Board of Selectmen accept the gift, which is 2 George Strait concert tickets, and this is being given to the Veteran Services Department. The value of the gift is $139 combined face value. The donor is Mrs. Anita Eves, a VA nurse from Hobbs, New Mexico. Thank you, Mrs. Hobbs from New Mexico.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next, John?
It's a second gift that's going to be given to the Veteran Services Department. The gift is a VA e-service computer station. The value is worth $1,200. Its purpose is for Foxborough veterans to create an account and securely access their own records, prescriptions, communicate securely with healthcare providers without leaving town. The donor is...
Second sheet.
The donors, Robert Olchak, the Assistant Financial Officer, South Coast Career Development Administration. Also Vincent Eng, Director, U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. And Dr. Michael Mayo Smith, VISN1 Network Director, U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Thank you all for this kind donation.
And I think special thanks to Michael Johns, who I think had a part in putting this together too, and the veterans.
Great. Is that
So motion to approve.
That was a motion to approve.
Second.
by Lorraine? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Time for one or two more, John.
Okay. Item number 4 is a gift that's going to be going to the Department of Public Works. It's a grant worth $5,600. The purpose is for a safety trailer, and the donor is the MIAA. So I move that we accept this grant of $5,600 for a safety trailer.
Second.
Just under discussion quick while Roger's here. Roger, can you explain what the safety trailer is for the DPW? There's no information on this, right?
Pretty sparse.
Huh?
Pretty sparse.
Yeah.
We have one that belongs to fire right now. What it is a trailer that's equipped with signs, cones, barrels, horses, all manner of traffic control devices that stay with the trailer. So when you have need of that stuff in a hurry at a certain location, you just hook up the trailer to the back of the truck, take it out there, and you can set up whatever you need right there on the site. And it's very helpful when you have accidents and things like that. We were lucky enough to apply for it and get it, and I'm pretty happy about it. It's being built, and we don't even get the money. What we do is we just tell the builder to build a trailer, and then Maya pays them.
Mm-hmm.
So I expect probably sometime around June we'll take possession of it.
Nice,
and
very good.
and register it.
The interesting thing is the fire department got one earlier under the same program, and typically they do not award a second
Two
one
to
to
the
a
same time.
community.
Right.
But because of the good work of the highway department, Babs Kelly, Roger, MIA, felt it was a good plan for the town and gave us the second grant.
So that's more insurance related. I mean, the Maya's doing
Right.
it to,
Yeah.
okay. Could probably even use that for, I'm not trying to be facetious, but like during the pothole season to
Oh.
bring out cones and barriers and,
That and a lot more.
yeah.
So this is MIIA.
Right.
Yeah.
Not the athletics, but the insurance.
Right, it's not right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Any more discussion?
MIA.
All those in favor?
Right. Thank you, Roger.
Thank you, Roger. Okay, let's get into the public hearing, John, please.
Okay, Town of Foxborough Board of Selectmen legal notice. The Board of Selectmen of the Town of Foxborough, acting as the local licensing authority pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, will conduct a public hearing on Tuesday, March 4th, 2014, at 7:30 p.m. in the Foxborough High School Media Center, 120 South Street, Foxborough, Mass., on reapplication for transfer of license, change of location, and pledge of license, and pledge of stock of annual all-alcohol beverage restaurant license from Foxborough Realty Associates, LLC, 1 Patriot Place, Foxborough, Mass., to SV Patriot Place, LLC, doing business as Splitsville Patriot Place. Manager Daniel E. Glaberson, with a new location at 220 Patriot Place, Foxborough, Massachusetts. All interested persons are invited to attend the hearing.
Thank you, John. Let's give everybody a minute to get settled in here, and then we'll start. Okay, one more minute, Pete. We're just waiting for these gentlemen to set up their displays and their seating arrangements, and we'll get right to the public hearing. Oh, that's awesome. Okay.
What you doing, Guy?
Guy, you ready?
You want me to put them all out now? Or I don't know.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, put
I
on.
think you want to put, not the food shots.
While Guy Revel is getting the board set up, for the record, I'm Brian Early, General Manager of Patriot Place from the Kraft Group. To my left is Dan Glaberson, who is the projected proposed manager of record, general manager of Splitsville Luxury Lanes at Patriot Place. I think everyone remembers Guy Revel and Mark Gibson, principals of Splitsville Luxury Lanes.
Guys in the bowling jacket?
Guys in the bowling jackets. I want to thank the board for granting the opportunity to revisit the application for liquor license for Splitsville. I think important things have occurred over the last several weeks, specifically.
I know, okay. We're going to have to interrupt you. Can you move those over? Because half our audience is going to start throwing stones because they can't
Actually, it'd
see.
be better if the audience could see those. Yeah, that'd be great.
Really directed to the board.
Which angle's best?
Well, they can see off the screen. If you face them to us, they can see on the screen. I know, because I think the board needs to see too. That'd be great right there. As long as you get that picture angle. And Paul, if you don't have the picture angle, just let me know, please, so the public can see it at home. Okay, sorry.
We good?
Yep.
So again, we want to thank the board for the opportunity to revisit this application. The Splitsville guys have done quite a bit of thoughtful work over the last several weeks since they were last here. I know on February 4th, a certain number of restrictions to both the liquor license and the entertainment license were outlined in a more global settlement agreement. And between meeting Dan, who's going to be the new general manager, as well as reviewing those restrictions, they just want to have the opportunity to do that themselves in person, coming up here to meet with you once again. So at this point, and also, I'm going to be at the tail end of their presentation, available to speak on the work that I've done, and Chief O'Leary, more importantly, has done on the policing program, the global policing program, Patriot Place. He's done a lot of work that I fully support, and we can get into that discussion as well as part of this whole package. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Mark Gibson, Splitsville Luxury Lanes.
Welcome back.
Hello, hello, thank you. We don't get to wear these jackets in all that many places, so we break them out for every Board of Selectmen meeting. Thank you for having us again. Thank you for reconsidering the application. And as Brian mentioned, we have had some time since the November hearing. We've continued to finalize the plan. We've amended the application to now show Dan Glaberson as the manager of record. And I think we did want to walk through the restrictions on the entertainment and liquor licenses in order to be able to answer questions or give any additional context or react to feedback on them, and discuss obviously anything else that the board would like to discuss tonight. So going to walk through them in order, and unfortunately,
Cheaters.
I'm of the age now. Number one, with regards to the entertainment license, the area where live entertainment will be provided will incorporate space separation elements, for example, curtains and or railings to reduce visibility from the general bowling and dining area. And again, I think everybody's familiar, but if not, here's this center swatch here, which incorporates the main bar and the stage. A sub-point to that is these separations will allow for control between the spaces and verification of capacity within the live entertainment area. The live entertainment area / bar area will not exceed 5,000 square feet or 25% of the total square footage of the entire premises. The capacity limitation of 500 patrons in the live entertainment area while Howl's Moon Entertainment is performing There's been a little bit of discussion on that one, so I'm going to go through them all and we can circle back onto that particular item. Sound levels in the general bowling area when Halloween entertainment is being provided will be comparable to sound levels at other Splitsville locations during comparable times. Halloween entertainment will be provided only on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday evenings from 8 p.m. until closing, except in connection with private events, stadium event days, and holiday periods. No person under the age of 21 will be allowed to sit at the main bar or high top tables immediately adjacent to that bar. It doesn't say that there, but that's what the intent is. Or to be allowed to congregate within the live entertainment / bar area when Halloween entertainment is being offered, except in connection with private events. In the event that Splitsville seeks Halloween entertainment that would be available to the general public on any other night other than as described above, Splitsville will apply to the town of Foxborough for a one-day entertainment license. Regarding restrictions to the liquor license application will name a current manager from an existing Splitsville location, which is why Dan Glaberson is sitting next to me, and he'll talk a little bit about his background and experience in Splitsville and other concepts. There will be no drink menus, drink specials, or other food and beverage promotions that will refer to Halloween. So those are the restrictions. I think those were presented in the February 4th meeting, as February 4th hearing. And then I know there's been some discussion, at least internally on our side, about the 500-person capacity, what that number should be. And this plan is the plan that is now almost fully engineered, gone through our own code consultants for handicap accessibility, for exiting, et cetera, plus all the engineering for HVAC, mechanical, plumbing, structural. So in the event that a license is issued in the next short period of time, we probably stand ready within the next 30 days to submit to the town of Foxborough a full set of permit documents, as well as obviously to test the street on what the pricing might be from general contractors. So the entertainment area is this swatch in here. And again, the number that we get for this area is plus or minus, I think it's 513 by our architect's calculations. And that's just the simple math of where you have fixed seating or bar, or you have standing room or open area, and they're divided by either 5 or by 15 to get that, and that's just the math of doing that. When you take the whole plus or minus 20,000 square feet, the capacity pushes up to plus or minus 900, which again, as we talked about in prior applications, the building commissioner will set that ultimate number based on his review of code and his review of all the data on the plan. We then, I would say, have to live with and respect that number. We're anticipating it will be close to 900, as we talked about in the prior hearings. And again, the intent or the goal from our side in instruction restriction is there seemed to be some concern that we would overload one part of the building with the majority of the capacity. So, as we've talked about the 3 different parts of the revenue stool, bowling, dining, entertainment, we want the building to fill completely, and this restriction on capacity here will act as kind of a further as a natural filter. So you've got activity and congregation at the lanes, and the main dining and secondary bar area, main bar and entertainment, and of course the lanes over here and the kind of the transitional or connecting spaces together. So that was our intent of that restriction. We know there's been some discussion, so wanted to know. And again, I believe a copy of this has been provided to the building commissioner, and that number would be ultimately determined by he and his staff.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Good to see you.
Thank you.
This is what happens when you turn 50.
I turned 50 in November, so
early November.
I'm over the hill.
Same here, November.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you have
I'm still 48, but every once in a while I need them.
There you go.
It's hard to find glasses to match a jacket, so
yeah.
My wife did her best.
There you go. Guy, welcome back.
Thank you.
You have anything to add?
No, I think Mark pretty much nailed everything. So we've just we're excited to be back. We we're hoping that third time's a charm. We've really put a lot of effort and gone through and taking the conceptual plans that we had at the very beginning and gone through all the code review and everything, where we think we've got everything really ready for a permit set, so we can start building. We'd love to be open sometime in July before preseason.
Okay.
And is it appropriate now to
yes,
Dan,
please
say a few words about yourself and your wonderful company?
My name's Dan Glaberson. I've been with the company since, I guess, 2004, spring of 2004. Started with the guys, you know, serving tables. Pretty much as this company's grown, so have I. Graduated in 08. Got my first opportunity. We opened Miami, Splitsville. Took that. What 21-year-old wouldn't want to take the opportunity to move to Miami, run our establishment down there. I managed, I bartended. With that, I took the opportunity. I kind of grew over a little bit, and I moved back to Tampa and continued to work for our company, managing the concepts down there. With that, we opened our Fredericksburg, Virginia store. Opportunity and growth drives me, so I moved up to Virginia. I managed as well as took the assistant general manager position for that store, and eventually became the general manager. Once I had been there for about 2.5 years. And then, you know, that establishment was about 70,000 square feet, movie theater and Splitsville. And then with that came, you know, warm weather. So the opportunity arose, our downtown Disney store. Assistant general manager position opened. I was offered it, and I came down there. And for the last year, I lived down there, enjoyed it, opened that one, and then opportunity presented itself one more time, and I took it for the general manager position at the Foxborough Splitsville.
In the cold.
Yeah, you know, it's
He's
still at
original from
70s.
Philly, so,
Originally from Philly, so it's not too bad. I have a pickup truck, so able to get around with all the snow you guys have had. It's crazy.
And you're also following somebody who's
Yeah,
up here.
my fiance brought her up. She's in the grad program at Bridgewater, which is kind of why I've been up here for about a month now. You know, she's serving tables, trying to get her accounting degree or accounting graduate's degree, whatnot, her master's in that. So she can hopefully one day support the family now.
And Dan did work, he touched on it, but Dan did work in 2 of our largest facilities. He worked in Fredericksburg, which is 75,000 square foot footprint. Disney's 50,000 square feet on 2 levels, so he's had exposure to moving parts and a lot of different things, and obviously has followed the company around. So he's adapts well, and obviously a talented guy. So.
Well, and I'll also add that for him to be able to do those moves, meaning we tapped him to do that. I mean, he's been phenomenal. And if you look at the majority of the managers in our company, they have grown with the company. They've started out as barback servers, bartenders, and they've worked their way up. So it's one thing about getting into our culture that we talked about, Jenny, last time I was here, that we're so involved in the community. Dan was there from day one in Fredericksburg, which is a town of 25,000. And he saw firsthand how we went into that community, really got involved, and now it's really paying the dividends 3-4 years. And he got tapped for that one to be the GM. So we think it's a perfect location to be able to put Dan.
Yep.
Great.
I'm excited for the opportunity.
Any questions for Dan? We got him on the hot seat.
Ed carded you?
What's that? Yeah. Yep, I am old enough. I'm not quite at 50 yet, so I still have. My eyesight's still good now.
Yeah, your certifications?
Tips certified, Safe Serve certifications. You know, I was presented obviously all the rules and regulations for Foxborough, which I have a little bit of time now I'll take, and I will memorize and familiarize myself with the specific certifications and whatnot, regulations versus, you know, the Florida regulations or any other state. But, and I mean, as far as any other certifications, I don't know if there are any other ones.
Well,
as far
responsible vending,
responsible
that's
vendings as well. That's a Florida-based, kind of similar to the TIPS program, which I'm certified in as well.
Thank you.
Any questions? Jeannie?
I just had a couple of questions about the conditions on the license. You said the holiday entertainment to Thursday, Friday, and Saturday evenings from 8 until closing, except in connection with private events, stadium event days, and holiday periods. Can you define, I mean, private events, I understand what that is. Can you define stadium event days?
I think our definition would be game days and major concerts, because there's a financial element to putting the show on is at a minimum probably $1,000. So I guess if you've got if you've got game days on Sunday, we may choose to do that. That would fall out of probably the Friday and Saturday. If there's a major concert, if it's whether it's Taylor Swift or Bon Jovi, or I heard rumor that maybe Bruce Springsteen next year. So those types of things, we just we didn't want to have to keep coming back and qualifying, so we tried to say, here's the days we do it. Whenever there's a lot of people within the Patriot Place or Gillette Stadium complex, we would want to have the ability to take advantage of the house show, and we tried to define all those time frames as possible.
Okay, that's your definition. Does the town have a definition of stadium event days?
Any license event.
That's a good question.
Dick, you'll have to come to the microphone so the people at home can hear you, or I get hate mail, or more hate mail. That was meant for him.
That was for Guy. He didn't touch it.
If the board gets to the position where it's going to approve a license, if you get there, we can, as a condition of the license, give clear definition to what's meant as a stadium event. It'll be very specific. It'll be tied either to number of patrons at a particular event, however we choose to define it, but it will be specific. It won't be, we'll have one definition and they'll have another. It'll be spelled right out in the license.
Do we have a, Bill Kessler, do we have a definition? Or?
I think there is one, Jenny, by the way, in the lease.
It would be a licensed event by the Board of Selectmen.
Yeah, it can be,
I mean,
it can be that, but
typically.
my memory is that the lease does define the stadium event for ticket sales, so we could track that if you want.
Bill, do you have something to add to that, so we can?
Good evening. If recollection, if my memory serves me right, in the 2000 site plan approval for the stadium defined a full stadium event as any event in which more than 50,000 tickets were made available. So logically, that tells me that a stadium event is any event where tickets are made available.
Okay. And you say holiday periods. What do you mean by how do you define a holiday period?
I think we're a lot like, I would define it as sometimes the holidays, not the busy night. Like the Wednesday before Thanksgiving is traditionally a very large restaurant bar night. A lot of times the Sunday before a Monday holiday, whether it's President's Day or, so it's just trying to not have to continually come back in front of you. So, New Year's Eve is usually the holiday as opposed to New Year's Day. So, we're just trying to straddle this. Probably it could be the holiday day or the day before, depending on the nature of that holiday.
So could we put down, rather than holiday periods, put down like the holiday, work something out, eve or holiday, something like that, rather than.
Sure, and I think, I'm not sure 50,000, but we could probably pick a number of expected attendance as well for the stadium event. That's not every time the stadium's open, but it may not rise to the level of 50,000, maybe some number. But
I think perhaps even a ticketed event inside the stadium probably rise to that level. And the holidays would be, there are floating holidays based on days, like, New Year's Eve would, not necessarily fall into their Thursday, Friday, Saturday schedule, so that.
And we could probably list them. We could have listed every day.
I just wouldn't want to see the 12 days of Christmas.
No, I think we could probably quantify them, but.
St. Patty's Day.
Yeah. Okay, no, I would think something would have to be submitted that would be more, dead on those events, We don't want it all over the place either. So, anybody else have anything to ask? James?
No, thank you all for returning, and Dan, thank you for coming for the first time.
My pleasure.
Are you talking specific to Dan or general for the whole application?
General, fine.
Yeah, obviously I was in favor of it before, but to be honest with you, without anxiety and without some angst about it, and I understand where the majority was, because it is the Howl at the Moon was concerning. The Splitsville certainly on your side was not concerning. But these 9 items between the entertainment license and the liquor licenses, what's been going back and forth, makes me a lot more comfortable. And I appreciate the effort that you did, redoing some of the site plans, quantifying, qualifying, and making the changes. So I think this is a lot better than it was before. So that's my 2 cents.
Did you want to touch base on the policing?
Yeah, so really going back to November, when Chief O'Leary and I started meeting on the community policing, and then as we got towards the, the Splitsville, knowing that I think the board feels strongly that there's a dynamic that changes with adding a venue of this size. So Chief O'Leary and I have met several times, and he has, and it's really for him to comment, but he has made a proposed community policing. He's done a lot of research in other districts around the country as well as outside the country, Toronto specifically, Milwaukee, Providence, Philadelphia, areas that he has looked at where there have been challenging dynamics in terms of policing entertainment districts. And at this point, based on the proposal he has made to me and the outline of things that still need to be worked through, I think we're going to be in a very good place relative to policing Patriot Place. And I think it will be, much like a lot of things that Patriot Place has done, will be a model for other developments to look at. And I'm strongly in favor of what he has proposed to, and as we said in the settlement agreement, we are fully prepared to accept and support, and not just the craft organization, but all the tenants at Patriot Place will also get behind this. I can guarantee you that.
Great. John, you have any questions?
Are you going to take public input?
I am, absolutely.
Okay, then I'll
There's
have a few
public
questions
hearing
after that.
Okay.
I'd like to hear from the public their current thoughts on this matter.
Okay. Mr. Thrasher, I see you waving here. Citizens input, not public input, I'm sorry, in a public hearing. So,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, board members. Jim Thrasher, former seat at that table. And I got to tell you, I know that it's not an easy job that you do. And I will try to keep my remarks brief. Asking a lawyer to do that, it's kind of like asking a father not to kiss his baby's cheek, but I promise you I'll be brief. I read once where the wise are quick to decide and slow to change their minds. And I'm asking you, as a citizen of Foxborough, to consider changing your mind tonight and offering the liquor license. In 2005, when I was elected, one of the big questions we had was what was going to complement the stadium. We didn't have anything going for us, and it was part of my first campaign. How are we going to help business grow on Route 1? Because there was so much competition with the 65,000 seat stadium. And it was in 2006 that the proposal to develop Patriot Place first came before the board. And I was fortunate to sit with Bert Delaney in the initial committee just to get input from various town department heads on what it might be like to have a development there. And I have to say that it's been very good for Foxborough. The proposal that was brought forward is really one that we embraced. But we need to remember that one of the reasons we embraced it was because we got into a partnership with liquor licenses. Entertainment requires the sale of alcohol. I really believe that it's not Boston but Foxborough that is the entertainment capital of New England. In order for entertainment venues to attract customers, they have to be able to serve. And we have been, I think, as a board and as a community, very accommodating. We have a fine public safety group, but most importantly, we have this group here, who, as a casual observer from the sidelines these last few years, I have to say that I've admired the approach that the board has taken to policing the sale of alcohol. What Patriot Place means not only for Foxborough, but for the surrounding community, in the growth of jobs and in construction. I think that it's good for us to keep that partnership going. What the board has been through in the last few months is nothing that I would relish sitting there having to make that decision in the face of public opinion. But you signed on for it, and you've all from what I've read and seen, have taken the high road, and I admire that, because it's not easy to sit there as a member of the Board of Selectmen and be put through what you've been put through. Sometimes it's harder on your families than it is on yourselves. So know that there are a lot of people in the community have admired what you've done. In the last few years, we've been through difficult controversies. Sometimes we bring them on ourselves. Sometimes there are larger questions that we're trying to answer. I think it's the right thing to do. I was encouraged to read a short bit by Ben Franklin not too long ago. And what I came away with is Ben Franklin tells us that we will always have expenses. It's the opportunity to earn revenue that we have to grasp when we have that chance. And this is an opportunity for Foxborough to gain revenue. I have great faith in your ability to control the licensees. I think it was creative, the way the license came to perhaps be available, but it's creativity that fuels business. And I would ask you to consider that slow change that only you can grant for the good of the community. Thanks for listening to my remarks, and maybe it wasn't as brief as the cheek on the kiss, but I appreciate it. Nice to see you.
Thank you. Jack? Jack, would you be more comfortable sitting?
Well, I think I can handle it. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate this opportunity. While I'm proud to be your town historian, I would like to speak tonight as a private citizen to share some thoughts about our town that have evolved over my experience over the past 80 years. It is an experience I treasure, and I strive to nurture that sense of community that makes Foxborough so unique. You have before you the reconsideration of a proposal for Patriots Place that was rejected a few months earlier. The modified proposal before you right now is but a mere shadow of the original, as the proponents seek to address each and every concern raised by town officials. Clearly, these are people who want to do business in Foxborough, and the craft organization has indicated that they would be important to the mix at Patriots Place. Foxborough has always been fortunate in the economic engines that have driven our economy. It is due in no small part to us being a town that would work with the business community, a partnership, if you will, as one cannot thrive without the other, and we have countless benefits to show for the effort. From a harness racetrack on Route 1 to a stadium and a professional football team, all separate entities, came to a painful yet critical transition to single ownership under Bob Kraft. And from that would flow a new mega stadium, privately financed, and what we would come to know as Patriots Place, a multi-million-dollar expansion of our tax base that benefits our town in so many ways, attracting entities that we couldn't accommodate downtown even if we wanted to, given our critical lack of storage. Patriots Place is unique, an entity many towns would like to host. Personally, I can't understand all the nuances of marketing a complex like that, as its needs are so highly specialized. But one thing I know for certain, the man and the vision behind Gillette Stadium, the New England Patriots, and Patriots Place is still here among us, together with his entire organization, waiting to help us become all that we can be by working together. Benefits to date have been enormous, far outweighing any negatives, but right now, I believe more strongly than ever before that each one of us should make every effort possible to maximize the relationship of our town and the craft organization. With open minds and ongoing dialogue, we can and should build upon the foundation that has been laid as we work together to make our partnership stronger than ever before. I thank you very much.
Thank you, Jack. Anybody else? Linda?
Linda Walsh, 8 Pond Ave. Great, I have to follow Jack. That's wonderful. I'm not sure why John wants us to speak first, but I'd like to, reply if there's something that comes from your discussion at some point that I'd like to reply to, or someone else might want to. I just want to remind Mark about your committee back in 2006 and basically echo what James Thrasher, we were all on board together.
So it's positive, because I thought you were going to scold me or something, the way you can remind Mark.
Oh, I can flip like that, though. You know that. So I just wanted to remind you that we had all the departments working very hard, and we came up with all sorts of things to bring to the board to look at. The vote came to town meeting. Town meeting had the same presentation that we did, and they voted to have it. And the man had a vision. The vision is pretty much 99% there. He continues to add things to it. I think that Splitsville will be yet another event, entertainment place for us to have up there. And I think that with Splitsville there, along will come other opportunities for the group too. So as he grows, we grow. I just wanted to remind you that we worked very hard on that, and the boards since then have worked together with the Patriots organization to get where we are. And to hear some members kind of say, well, we didn't get a great deal, we, this, that, poo-poo, everything. It's hard as a past member to take that, and I'm sure that in your days after your seats here, you wouldn't like to hear that either. So that's all I want to say for now.
Okay. Anybody else?
Hi, Stephanie McGowan, 19 Rhodes Lane. I just wanted to touch a little bit about the development of Patriot Place, and just to share a little, I happened to go to high school with the owners of Cupcake Charlie's. And, they're a new business up at Patriot Place. They're doing very well. She's got 4 other locations, and cupcakes are a good business because she gets to spend the winter in Florida. So she's in Florida right now. But we were gabbing on Facebook, and I was just telling her that this was coming up for her. And as a business owner at Patriot Place, she was thrilled at the opportunity that you guys might come in, because for a small business like her, the foot traffic and other people coming up there only will make the businesses that already are there successful, and maybe we'll draw some other businesses. It's not all about just places that serve alcohol. This is a little cupcake bakery, and she's thrilled with a business like that coming in. So I just think that a successful business that Splitsville has shown it is, if you continue to bring businesses like this to develop Patriot Place, it'll just make it that much better in the future when you have other people sitting at this table asking, to come on in and join the party up there. So I just wanted to give, from it's not from her mouth, but I think she would be okay with me letting you know, as a small business owner up there, she's thrilled that you guys might be coming in. So just wanted to share that. That's all.
Thank you. Anybody? Okay, John, I don't see anybody else who want to add.
Yeah, and thanks for coming back. I really appreciate it. I know it's a lot of effort. You're coming up from Florida.
Yeah.
I just want to,
especially this time of year,
for better or for worse, I'm going to dive into the mechanical aspects of why we're here. We had said no to 2 items, one of which was to change the envelope of the stadium and include the field house in the stadium license. And the one thing we need to decide as a board is whether or not we believe that the field house is a contiguous facility to the main stadium or not. The field house has had its own license for 10 years, and we need to decide whether or not we believe that the field house continues to need its own license. Secondly, if we don't decide that the field house could be part of the stadium envelope, there is no license to transfer. So that's really when the citizens came and said, we really would like you to reconsider. What we're doing is we're reconsidering those 2 items.
Just one? John, just one. Mr. DeLuca, could you please?
Yes, members.
That's 2 of you, I guess. That's only it's called the lawyers.
It's my understanding that, and we'd have to refer back to the vote that was taken some 2 weeks ago about your request to reconsider. And my understanding was it was a request to reconsider the single request for transfer of the license from the field house
to this proposed location. The alteration of the premises was in fact a separate matter. It was heard kind of in tandem with this, but I think the reconsideration was confined to the transfer.
Correct, it's just on this here.
Right.
But in your opinion, as counsel, is that license transferable?
The license is transferable.
Okay. Just want to make that publicly known? Okay.
So long as you judge it to be in the public good, sure.
Okay, thank you. I'm sure we'll be calling you back.
Get my gloves.
Yeah. All right,
Touch
Sean,
mic.
sorry for the confusion there.
It's all set.
but-
Thank you.
All right, so you got anything else to add? No? Okay, Lorraine, you want to go?
I just wanted to ask Bill Caspera if he could come up and just speak to the capacity piece, because the numbers have changed from what we've been discussing. The occupancy piece of it. Thanks, Bill.
Good evening again. Jeannie, what was the question?
Lorraine.
I'm sorry.
The capacity numbers that we've been discussing with the original hearing, we were talking about a number of 660 for occupancy. Tonight we're hearing potentially 900. We have had a number in front of us that the capacity in Hell at the Moon would be 300. Now on this new application, it's 500. Can you explain how these numbers can change?
It's like a moving target. Every time we talk about it, this goes all over.
And the reason I'm asking this is because I think I had made it clear that my concern was the size of the venue, a large entertainment venue.
The original floor plan that was submitted with the application for a liquor license, only it did not have an occupancy number attached to it, and it didn't have any dimensions either. It only had a small chart that had the square footage of the various areas within the facility. So based on the limited information that I had on that sketch, if you will, I determined using the building code with their table on allowable floor area per occupant, I used that to determine what the various areas, the occupancies of those areas would be, and the total was actually, I did it several times to make sure I was as close as I could. It was the total figure was 760 on the last one. The 300, I think that was the live entertainment area, which they provided a square footage area of
5,000.
Yeah, 4,475. And I used tables and chairs, which is one of the categories, which allows one person per 15 square foot net, and that came up with 298. So that's where that number came from.
Is that still the same size area as proposed in the first?
Yes. Within 5 or 10 square feet, yes.
Okay, so...
But I think the one thing to be clarified is standing room area versus tables and chairs.
But that wasn't provided on the first plan when I determined those occupancies. And those. So, yes, you're right. Standing room can be 5 to 1, but you didn't provide that information. So that's why I used the 15 net.
Correct. Oh, and with that, when you look at what we gave, well, it was a little bit more than a sketch, but you're right. It was a conceptual floor plan. I mean, we were doing something, obviously, we had not gone through the code review of our own architects and everything else yet, and that's the reason when, in that first meeting, I think it was Lorraine or John that said, where are you guys? Is it 600 or is it, 850? We're going back and forth. And I said, we think, our guess is 800 to 900, but we don't know until we get the plans done and he looks at them. And Mark had said that, but, so it hasn't changed. I mean, it is what it is. The footprint's the same. And there's a few minor things we had to do for handicap accessibility. We had to add in a couple more exits, so now instead of having 4 exits, we have 6 exits. Sure. But it's not like we changed the plans. And I don't want y'all to think that. That's not the way we do
No,
business.
we're not saying that, but the number's been.
I understand. Well, but it's all a math calculation of what the numbers are and how you get there.
And I think it's important to note that the calculation that has come to the numbers we're seeing now, and Bill, correct me if I'm wrong, is the calculation that has been used for every venue at Patriot Place or any other venue in town in terms of standing room occupancy as well as seating occupancy when you do the
It's a
calculation.
state regulation, not a town ordinance.
Right, but I mean, to be consistent across the board, that information on standing room area and table and chair area was not available when Bill did his first calculation. It is now available based on the final plans that have been submitted. And to Guy's point, none of the square footage has changed. It's just how the venue is positioned from a standing room area and in the entertainment area as well as the entire venue versus tables and chairs.
It's less, I mean, the drawing is virtually identical. I think we didn't provide the information, and it wasn't a dimension and stamp plan, and it wasn't a code and occupancy plan. So I mean, nothing has really changed except for he now has enough data to make the exact mathematical calculation. And actually, the square footage in this area went down by 70 square feet. It's listed here at 4,405. It was listed here at 4,475. So it's within 70 square feet. But I mean, it's not, we didn't take a bunch of stuff out in order to get a higher number. I think it's just giving him enough data and enough of the more developed plan in order to do a complete calculation.
You're on. Right. Yeah. Okay, if I could excuse everybody for a minute, we just have to open the other public hearing scheduled for 8:15. We're not going to just go to it, but we have to open it by law. So, John, if you could, please.
Okay, the Board of Selectmen pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 140, Section 157, will conduct a public hearing on Tuesday, March 4th, 2014, at 8:15 p.m. in the Foxborough High School Media Center, South Street, Foxborough, Massachusetts, to consider the restraint or removal of a mixed-breed dog from the town of Foxborough. The dog is owned by Diana Ferreira, 23 Windsor Drive, Foxborough, Massachusetts. Interested parties are invited to attend this hearing.
Thank you, John. We will get to that public hearing in probably a half an hour or so. If those people are attending, if you want to get comfortable, please do so. I apologize, but public hearings can go, there's no limit on them. They can go for months even. So,
No. Make this question short.
Go ahead, Lorraine.
Okay, so nothing has changed in the diagram, basically, and the original diagram was calculated. You counted the number of tables that were in there and came up with that number of 298.
I did for the patio area. For the rest, I based it on the square footage that was given to me for the individual areas within the floor plan.
Based on tables and chairs, not standing.
Correct.
So
there
that's
was no
the big difference.
information
So it's
given to me on
eight people per 8 square foot? It's 5?
It's 5.
Okay.
Standing.
So, now, I thought when we had discussed this earlier, there was going to be a limitation on the area under 300, and that's what was discussed in front of this board for that area for now. So, I mean, that's where you're coming from, Lorraine.
right.
Has anybody here on the board heard anything different that we it was going to be, for at least for a while?
Well, I mean, I guess one of the restriction that we put forth was 500 person, which is a slightly, I think it's 513 or 515 to reduce it. Our understanding was whatever the max occupancy was, we weren't going to then try to shove all those people and kind of whisk them under the overall global occupancy into that area. So to restrict it so that it does filter naturally, or there's a governing process so that people are spread out through the entire 20,000 square feet.
Right.
Because what you didn't want, let's say that your 900 is at the front door, and 900's trying to go in there into that one area, and there's nobody over on lanes 1 through 4 and 4 through 8. Obviously, that's what we're trying to restrict that.
Well,
Yeah, not to get into the full calculus of everything, but 4,475 feet of standing room only will be a number, in excess of 800, 900, I believe would be the number. They've done a lot of work to restrict this down to a number with tables and chairs to give that calculation on the 15 for a portion of it, but the balance of the square footage, 1,700 or so, which is at standing room only, is where the calculation gets the number to 500. So they're well below what the capacity of the space would be had it not had tables and chairs. And they're going to maintain that table and chair feel.
Well, everybody's
around
going to
it.
sit down. I mean, you can't just expect Sure. 900 people to stand for 3 or 4 hours singing and dancing or whatever, but, I mean, but I thought the board had requested it be a lower number, at least to start with. You know, maybe revisit that in a year and see how things go, see with the occupancy level, and go with maybe that equation. I'm not telling you what to do, I'm just thinking this is what I think the board was discussing. Just at 300 basically, I'll average it off. You know, maybe we meet in the middle for now, but I don't want to see, I think that's what scared the board a little bit. I shouldn't say the word scared, but 500 people all at once, you know, let's take a little baby steps here. We don't have to just take the full hurdle and go right in. You know what I'm saying? I think that could make or break the case here. So maybe we, you know, limit the occupancy with the entertainment license. Is that how we do it, Bob? Or Bill, would you like to?
I'm gonna observe. I don't know enough about
Yeah,
the
he
issue
doesn't
yet,
work
so
for us
I'm
yet, Mark.
still learning. I'm still learning.
He does.
Trying to get the
Signed
speed of this
contract.
one, so.
I think that, you know, you'd have to run that by council, and Dick's been involved in the negotiations, so I think he'd be better able to answer that question for you.
Mr. Gellerman. Bill, thank you.
Don't leave.
So that it's clear, Bill's numbers are ceilings. There's a code sets limits on the number of persons that can occupy a given area. And it's within the board's reasonable discretion to impose conditions on occupancy as long as you're convinced and in fact there's a impact on public safety or good order. So you can do that. The way to do it is to impose that as a condition of the entertainment license, and that's the way it would be done. It would be a condition of the entertainment license.
And it's something we could revisit.
Yes,
And
entertainment. I'm sorry, Mark, but entertainment licenses are always revisited annually, but it's within your authority to revisit that. You can put in a condition that you will revisit it. You don't have to, but you could do that. 6 months, 3 months, 9 months, whatever the board determines.
I visited the one in town in Boston. I saw some people standing, but you know, maybe I'm 50, I don't know, but I think most people want to sit down for a few minutes, and I think people get more agitated if you're standing around getting bumped into, and it can create more of a bad situation. So I'm really kind of want to see the tables and chairs situation myself.
And not to misunderstand or misstate what Brian said. I mean, I think his point was the square footage of a 20,000 square foot building, absent a lot of fixed seating, could support a 1,200 or 1,300 number. So that's not what our concept is. That's not what we're proposing. It could be bigger. I think that area with tables and chairs supports, or would come close to supporting a 513 person number. Could be plus or minus a little bit as drawn there. If the building commissioner applied the 1 in 5 to a certain piece, 1 in 15. You know, I guess we're not, in our world, to get to a code compliant, handicap accessible, enough exits, enough entrances, all the ramps up and down that have to happen. I mean, there's an overriding life safety issue that's factored into that. So you've got, you know, some tolerance or some cushion for being able to control your premises, be able to responsible vend, be able to run the business. We're not, it's hard to evaluate taking a number out of the air and then trying to apply that to what could happen to your business model. You know, you want to, I'm not good on my farmer analogies, but you want to, you know, when the sun's shining, you want to reap or sow or do something. You want to get as much hay as you can. And Patriot Place has been very successful with Fridays, Saturdays, event nights, concerts. You've got a great lineup of food, beverage, and entertainment. So to some degree, we get nervous if we're restricting our ability to succeed and therefore enhance our risk. So I think some number of reduction, I think we could talk about the process of coming back to the board. You know, this has been a arduous process, so to come back and have to ask for something.
We just talked to Dan at that point.
Yeah. Dan, good luck.
Yeah.
Your job, it requires you to do this. So, and I guess, and your question is posed, what would you see the overall occupancy being?
Well, I think the board, and I'm going to try something, had a real issue with a large, we've had issues in the past with other establishments, and if you're going to put a huge amount of people in one area, and the capacity is up at the 500, I thought the board was kind of reluctant to do that. So maybe, I mean, we have to limit it. I don't know if it's tonight or another night when we're gonna do the entertainment tonight too, if this passes, I don't know. I'm trying to figure this all out as I go and speak, but I don't think anybody here is anybody here comfortable with 500?
Yeah, and I understand you're saying the board, but, you know, let me put my designer hat on,
Okay,
architect.
yeah, absolutely.
I'm looking at a site plan that's got 12 lanes, and it's got a bar in the middle, and it's got seats, and it's got, you know, standing area, sitting area. It makes sense from a site plan and architect's perspective. We've already limited the number of days they can have the live entertainment, the square footage, the 25% down to, you know, to a certain number. It's hard to just say, well, you know, 400 is better than 500 or 300 is better than 400 without backup. If it's going to get smaller, then the square footage is going to get smaller, and a piece is going to maybe get chopped off and not be rented. There's an investment, there's a business plan, and this seems to make sense. You know, I did a couple questions on it. I'm seeing a mezzanine, which I don't remember seeing before, and I just got that today. You know, so things like that is something, you know, on the second floor that I can't see on this plan that shows up on the other plans. Things
It's under storage. It's
is that it's underneath? Okay. So that's the site plan that is in front of us.
Goes down one level to approximately 500.
Oh, okay. So this is the bottom. This is below it.
Nothing
Okay.
but storage.
Okay.
It's not up in the
All right.
rafters.
It's actually maybe I do need glasses, but this
Almost 50.
So I'm just cognizant to, you know, at what point does too many restrictions start to get a little, it's a number and not without reality behind it.
Okay.
So, you know, if they came up with 1,200, would be, you know, naturally we want to say 1,000. If they come up with 6, we want to say 4. I don't know what's dictating the 500, or other than it just feels like less is better than what they came in with.
Ginny, any comments on this?
Yeah. Gentlemen, I didn't realize you were coming up from Florida this evening. And my concern is, we have just today, before you came in, we have hired a new town manager. And one of the reasons that we chose Mr. Keegan was his experience in dealing with very similar malls. There's in Dedham, it's called Legacy Place. And I would like to have Mr. Keegan's take a look at this, and from his perspective as an experienced town manager who has dealt with issues like this at another mall. So I was not ready to vote on this tonight, because Mr. Keegan has said that he would come, you know, before he starts officially, he will come and to get up to speed on issues. And that was one of the reasons, that was why I made that pronouncement earlier in the evening. Just so we have the ability to tap into Mr. Keegan's experience.
I don't.
And I would like to.
Whoever's speaking out, just wait. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I mean, I was not prepared. I mean, I had no intention of voting on this tonight, and I didn't realize you guys were coming up here. I mean, I'm sorry, but I had no intention of voting on it tonight. I wanted Mr. Keegan to look at this and have his input to the board.
Hold on. I'm going to answer that first. First of all, Ginny, they've got a plan here to open it up sometime in July if they get the license. Okay? The math ain't going to work that way. He's not going to be actively our town manager for almost 2 months.
No, he said he would come beforehand. The contract is signed. He said he can come beforehand and work on consulting or whatever. And I think this is an important issue for the town of Foxborough. And I think we hired this man for his expertise. And I think giving it a week or two or whatever he needs, it's worth it.
Okay.
I mean, that's why we hired this man.
Okay.
If we could have hired him 2 months earlier, we would have.
Okay. This is a public hearing. You can speak, Bill. Do you want to reply to?
Well, I'm not really, I wasn't prepared to say anything
Well, I understand
tonight,
that, but just
so-
to what Ginny's asking.
But with respect, I mean, I'm certainly willing to look at all the pieces of it and then comment. I mean, the closest comparison we have is King's in Dedham, which is at Legacy Place right now. It's a very similar type of venue. Works very well. I'd have to go back and take a look at the actual numbers with respect to how that works. But they made a number of different requirements in the license. The board, my board, has done the same. Taking, obviously precautionary types of steps similar to what this board is trying to do. So I would have to go back and look at that and then compare what this is and speak to the building inspector, speak to the. I'd like to understand the proposal a little bit better than I do currently tonight, and then I'll provide the board some reaction to that. But with respect to commenting on it tonight, I'm just not in a position to do that. But I certainly would be willing to take a look at that.
What I was kind of asking is, as far as a time frame for you to comment on this, not tonight. It was not putting you on the pressure tonight. Is there going to be a month?
Oh no, I mean, looking at a proposal like this shouldn't take me much time at all. I mean, a week or so could be fine.
Okay.
It shouldn't be that difficult to do.
Yeah. I mean, we are 5 volunteers to work in this town. We have various areas of expertise, but we're not mall managers, and we're not, we haven't had experience with something like this, and that's why I would feel more comfortable, put it that way, with Mr. Keegan's input.
The agenda tonight included the fact that we were going to reconsider the Splitsville application. So I'm not really sure. I mean, again, these gentlemen came up from Florida expecting that was going to be reconsidered, that the entire board would reconsider. With all due respect, I think it's great that Mr. Keegan is on board. I had a chance to meet him outside after he had signed on. But, further delaying this process, I believe that the board has enough information based on information that's been provided by Bill Caspara, information that still could be provided by Chief O'Leary, with or without a new town manager. It was intended that tonight was going to be a night for reconsideration, and frankly, to say that it's not, the board is not prepared for that is completely opposite of what the agenda was calling for.
One member is just not. It's just stated that she wasn't.
I wasn't.
Reinstate what you were saying. That you said that you were not prepared tonight to make a vote. Is that what you said?
Right.
Okay, that's what not the whole board. Lorraine?
I wanted to hear some more information from Chief O'Leary, but again, going back to the capacity numbers, I think, that is my concern, is the size of the venue. I hope that there would be some flexibility in consideration, in considering that size, both within the Howell entertainment area and the total size. Is that something you're willing to discuss?
I think we have some ability, but not to the delta of 500 to 300. I think you would then you would change. I mean, just thinking the context, you're putting, the code is not necessarily friendly or encouraging congested occupancy. So it's already in up to 2014 Town of Foxborough, Massachusetts ADA code. So I think at some point, if you lessen it, you're going to end up either where we're in a position that we're having to violate that number. We go to 350, we're in violation, we lose a license. Or you've got you've got a room that's a little bit vacant on a Friday, Saturday night. You either have unhappy customers. Why can't I stand over there? You're stopping me here, or it just doesn't feel right, and then our business model implodes and we don't make money. And we would love to prove our ability to operate and maintain control and be responsible vendors, et cetera. We've done it. Guy and I have done it together for 23 years, longer than I want to. 26 years, longer than I want to remember. But at that point, $4.5 million, the horse is out of the barn, to stay with my farming analogies. And everyone skips over that. $4.5 million is a lot of money. I'm here. It's not like I came up from Florida. It's my daughter's 10th birthday. I mean, this is our 3rd hearing. It's very important to us. I'm here because my daughter, I want her to go to a great college. I want her to be successful. I want to take care of my family. This is our lives. So we came up here. We're trying to work. We have 9 conditions that I think go further than anybody, my understanding, in the state, definitely anybody in the town, and we're trying to work with you, but it's hard to pluck a number and say, we'll just choose to be 15% less profitable because.
Okay.
So that I guess.
Let me give a couple of examples.
We can work, but it's hard to. The number I'm hearing was a big drop.
I'm just asking.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, I was saying, I thought it was
But
298.
think about it.
We got some confusion. I'm just trying to settle the confusion, just so everybody clearly understands.
So the four of us, if we were standing right now, in the way that Bill's done the code for the standing room only, couldn't stand like this. 5 square feet for each person. Think about that.
Yeah, there's already a tolerance. So
It's already a big number anyway. That was my whole point. I mean, we're not going to sit there and try to overload the space. We've already taken of what the state code says. This is what you need to do. So we're thinking, okay, well that's good because we could have changed the plan, which we would never have done because we want the concept to work 365 days a year, not for the ball game nights and the days and all that kind of stuff. But if you took out every stitch of furniture there, like Brian had made that analogy, we would never have come back with that. This is the way the concept is going to work great, whether it's on a Monday, whether it's on a Friday, whether it's on a Sunday. So it's not like we changed anything or tried to do, I mean, I don't know, it's upsetting that we came in here and we've done all this great stuff, and I'm thinking I'm like, perfect.
Let me ask one follow-up question on that.
Please stop. Please. It's a discussion. We're all trying to make this work for everybody. I know things are getting a little upsetting. Believe me, it's been way more upsetting around here than you can ever imagine. I'm sure you've been Googling it, reading the paper and everything else. It's not fair to anybody to get upset tonight. It's not gonna help anybody's situation.
Can I just ask that? When you referenced a number of 400, what would your corresponding occupancy for the full 20,000 square feet have been in that question or that stipulation?
The rest of it hasn't been a concern. It's just trying to control a little bit of that inside venue to see how it works. You don't know, Ginny's right, we're not, first time I've been out in 20-something years is to one of your clubs in Boston, and it's no joke. I don't go out, and I enjoyed myself. And I'm bringing that news back to the town and the board. But I felt a little crowded in there, I'll tell you that much, but when you're 50, you probably need 10 square feet instead of 5, so whatever. So, but let's just try and work through this. It's just a discussion, so go ahead.
Go ahead. There you go.
So when I first heard 660, you clearly understand that blew my mind, okay? So I was thinking, oh geez, could you please lower it to like 400? I love the concept, everything looks great. So you said that doesn't work. So, okay, we're here to reconsider. I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to compromise and go to 660. Then I hear 900. I'm like, I'm really struggling with that. So there has to be a compromise here for reconsideration, and I feel like we're not getting there.
We're all about compromise, and we're also in the fun business. I'm going to give an example. There's a certain square footage where you have a party. And it's whether it's a party for high school students to do a fundraiser for their school, whether it's a kid's birthday party, or whether it's a Friday night out with the family, or Saturday night out with the guys, whatever it might be. This right here, if the state code, and we go to the 5 square feet or the 15 square feet with tables and chairs, if you say this is only, once again, looking at this entire area as the 298 people, that will feel empty. I mean, literally, I'll be in there doing snow angels where there's nobody. Okay, so let's say we're doing the clickers, we get it to 298, Lorraine. And everybody's more here near the stage when the house is on. So this is totally empty because we can't get any more people in there. And then we got people that come over here that want to go sit at this table. And we got to tell them, I'm sorry, folks, you can't sit there. Back here, way back here, has nothing to do. They might not even be looking at the show, listening to the show, but they're hanging out back over here. You understand my point? Right. At some point, we're great businessmen. We've been doing this for 26 years. We're on Disney property. We know what we're doing. You guys, at some point, you got to trust us. We're not trying to pull the wool over your eyes. We're not trying to bait and switch you. We're trying to put a great concept in Foxborough for you guys and for your citizens. That's all we're trying to do. So at some point, you've got to really look at it to say, this makes sense, this doesn't make sense. So even if you came back and said, okay, we want that smaller number, that's great. Let's negotiate, let's do a smaller number. But at some point, does that number, is it there back? Is it here to there, where this area's open? I mean, really look at what you're talking about, and we're absolutely willing to compromise again, we're willing to give again, but it's gotta make sense for our business model, or we're not gonna spend our money here.
I mean, in order to do a lower number, do you put more tables and chairs in so that you eliminate that feeling of
But it's not the
openness?
concept. The only thing worse than empty space is empty tables and chairs. So it's.
But I don't think you have seating for 350 people showing here, do you?
No, and that's
Or
also
400
not
people.
That's not the intent of that, part of the stool, so to speak, that if you're gonna drive Friday, Saturday, and game day entertainment, you need energy. And at some point, some people do want to stand, some want to sit. There's ample opportunity to both. My thought is maybe we should take a 2 or 3 minute break. Let us caucus internally, and then we can come back and say, because it doesn't sound like.
What you just did is you cleared it up for me. I can tell you that much, Ginny, because you know what they're saying. Lorraine, I'm sorry. It's not everybody crowded in. I understand how you're saying the quantity. It's hard to visualize. Even I'm in the trades, for me to visualize that situation.
Right.
Compared to the one I was in Boston.
Right.
Because the one in Boston was like 4,000. How many square feet was that?
2,700 square feet.
27.
The whole Boston
and
plan
that held 350 people, I
The whole
believe?
Boston plan fits inside that area.
Over 350. Over 350, but it felt crowded. So you're telling me this is almost twice the size, and it's only 500.
Yes.
Correct.
All right, so now I understand it, because now you put it in numbers, all right. All right, so.
Can I just put it in a little different context?
Yeah.
Because it sounds like you know your competition, and Howl at the Moon, Kings and Dedham.
Right.
I went in there Friday night with my wife and another couple just to see, other than the 2-hour wait to get a lane. It didn't feel crowded, and granted, it doesn't have the entertainment component, but if I walked into this area, square footage and tables, and the number of lanes here versus Dedham and the Kings there, is this bigger, smaller, not comparable?
It's not. Footprint size is probably pretty close. I mean, it would feel. I've only been in Kings 2 or 3 times, and not on a Saturday night. It would feel busier to the front part of the stage. The rest of this should feel comparable to what you saw.
Because when I remember from Kings is you walk in, you had the lanes and the tables.
The stage is going, and this is where people would dance or sing along. So there's going to be more energy here. The rest should feel comparable. It should feel better because we separate the lanes. We think ours is a better model than Kings, but public service announcement notwithstanding, it should feel comparable through here. It would just be more intensive on the front
in that area.
And you guys also understand we have different levels, and that's the reason we have so many ramps. So like one of the changes that we had to make, where we had to get another exit, was for handicap. This is raised, this is higher than this is higher than that, and this is higher than that. So once again, even though it's open, we'll have the curtains here and the railings, but it feels better when you're in there because you're all at different levels. So, but because of this ramp, a lot of space gets eaten up with the ramps, but then we added a whole nother exit right there just for that. Well, by doing that, wherever Bill is, I mean, at some point your occupancy is going to go up because you have 6 exits instead of 4. We didn't do the exits to get more occupancy. We did the exits because we needed them for exiting and for handicap accessible.
Okay.
So once again, those numbers did inflate, but it's not like we said, how can we get in there? But if y'all remember that first time, I did say, I thought it was around 800 to 900. It was what we would get looking at the plan. Wasn't sure, but they would tell us.
Okay.
It just kind of is what it is. But
Okay.
that's a nice big area.
Yeah, we were concerned that, when Howl at the Moon came on, that this entire facility was going to turn into a nightclub. And so we proposed some separation, and then you came back with curtains and railings. Just was wondering if you can describe how you're going to isolate the rest of the bowling alley concept by curtains and railings.
And I don't know that you would isolate it. You would, there's more visual separation. I mean, we're showing on this one a curtain or a sheer here. You would do the same thing here, and then to some degree, to Guy's earlier point, I mean, you've got a main entry and you've got bathrooms over here. So there's going to be a, you know, kind of an ebb and flow to that. So your occupancy, you know, you'll have clickers, and you can have people stanchioned, you know, wherever they need to be, depending on where the area is defined as. But there's a natural flow, so you might never be to the person, but there should be some, you know, delta 5% that you might be up or down. And that's why if you're building in, you know, say our number was 513 and you picked a number of 413 for this area, you've got a 100-person tolerance that now managing to, so you've got an ability to work for it. So, but you would separate it visually, potentially here and here, and then you could restrict the front door. But if this person wants to go to the restroom, or this person goes over here, these 5 friends join their friends, I mean, we would get with Chief O'Leary as a practical matter and make sure the intent of what we're trying to accomplish is being adhered to, knowing that you're not, unless you empty the building and count them out, you're always going to have some variance to what, you know, I think there's 372, there might be 382 or 350. You know.
So folks in the bowling alleys can still see the show?
They can,
Not when you pull the curtains.
Well, he said there was shears.
Well, we probably do a shear that you can see. I mean, again, not knowing the full intent of what the board is pushing, the more you separate this room explicitly, the more you're going to force it to go back to feeling like a pure Howard the Moon, as opposed to a live entertainment component within a Splitsville. So you're going to force almost more of a nightclub.
Now, aren't the children not allowed in there after a certain time? Wasn't that stated before?
Yes.
What time of minors not allowed in there?
While Howl at the Moon show is going on.
So there's no concern with minors in any other area?
Well, no, right now.
Within the entertainment area.
The stated restrictions here, Selectmen develops comment, we're going to be on a wait for bowling on Friday and Saturday night. So if you come in and you're on an hour wait at 7 o'clock, so if you get to a lane at 8 o'clock, we wouldn't kick the under 21 out. I mean, assuming they're with a parent. Our overarching kind of
You
policy
have to be with
is
a parent.
with a parent.
Okay, so you have to be
so that
with a
they can
parent.
finish their bowling,
Right.
and then they can depart naturally. If we find it more argument, you know, more abrasive to the customer to chase them out at a certain time, and we don't want to restrict access. At some point, we may have to pick a time if we're charging cover, or, you know, if hopefully through all this we're actually successful, you may not let any underage in at 9 o'clock, and you may have to be on a wait list for bowling by 7. There's going to have to be some policy so that our door guys aren't getting chased down, or Dan's not, you know, getting kicked in the shins. But we tend to try to leave under 21, if accompanied by a legal adult or a parent, as long as possible, because it carries the concept longer, and you end up letting them naturally filter out. By 9:30, ish, we would expect to be 21 and over throughout the whole building, but that could give it 5, 10, 15 minutes, and we would work with.
As long as they're, in my eyes, as long as there's parent, it's all that matters, you know, to me.
Yeah,
And,
what you don't want is a group of 6 19-year-olds in there. You know, the 8-year-old. My daughter's not trying to drink when she's in there with me. We don't in any of our locations. You don't let 6 18 or 19-year-olds in at any time. It's kind of an overarching policy which eliminates a lot of the headache. Not all of it, but a lot of the headache.
Thank you. John, anything else?
I'm all set, thanks.
Okay. Well, I'll make this statement. It's been a tough, going on 4 months here, all right? As you know, I support it from day one, and I still support it. I think what's happened is Stadium is always competing to get venues, concerts, soccer games up there. When Patriots Place was first developed, it was basically going to be retail and restaurants. And now with the way the economic changes, everybody's gone to Amazon, eBay, whatever you want. I mean, there's a package at my house every day. We never shop. I mean, realistically, you know the kids' sizes, you go on eBay, you go on Amazon, it comes to your door, you don't have to go get it. It's turned into an entertainment facility, and that's the way it's aiming. I mean, if anybody disagrees with that, I mean, maybe I'm just blind, but it's turned into an entertainment facility. And I still support that, because how can you take the venues from Fenway Park and bring them here? It's a competitive world. We're competing, Foxborough is competing with Boston and Providence and other cities to bring venues here. And, you know, people will travel from 2 states over to see a good concert. So they're going to go to Boston, they come to Foxborough. Boston, in that area of Fenway Park, where they have, or the Bruins games, there's probably, I'd have to guess, 200 liquor licenses in that area between around Fenway Park or around Boston Garden. They're everywhere. I've been there many times. They're just everywhere. I don't know if one circumference all of them like the stadium does inside. I don't know. I don't have time to figure all that out. But what it's come to is, we can't have these venues come if we don't have the facility and the infrastructure at the stadium to support it. And that's what this is part of. This is gonna support the infrastructure of bringing more concerts, which is more revenues to the town, more meals tax, more hotel tax. It's coming. I have full faith in the police department to manage it. I have full faith in Chief O'Leary and his department to manage this. I've spoken to just about every police officer in this town, and not one of them are against it. I've heard 2 people, maybe wrong, 3, in this whole town that have come up to this microphone and asked. I don't even know if they were against it. I just said, I think there's an influx of liquor licenses, and that's about all we need. But this has been publicized, guys, for 4 strong months. I've had 3 people in the nay come up here and talk on that microphone. I've had councils people come up here and support it, including some of the most respected people in this community. You gotta have faith in your police department. These gentlemen are here for the 3rd time. I'm begging you just to vote on this tonight. Reconsider it, give them the opportunity to work in this community, and let's move forward. This is tying up way too much time, and I know I am a judge of character. I can tell these fine gentlemen are gonna do a fantastic job in this town. I know they are. I can tell.
Well,
because I can judge character, and I can tell you right now, I have confidence it's going to be a great thing for the community. And if it ain't, they're all $450 million in infrastructure, the building fees, and you know how
50 million?
4.5 million.
That's a big enough.
Still
on and on.
Hey, I was on a
Go that
roll.
way.
Sorry, I was on a roll, Jane. So it's a big investment for you guys to come in, and you can't take the chance of losing that. And liquor license violations, you're not going to have them. I see a lot of faith in this young man. He's been with you since day one, since you graduated.
About
10 years.
About 9, a little over 9 years. So
you know,
since
so
I got my business degree.
You gotta have faith. I'm going with it. I want to entertain a motion tonight. I want to put this behind us. This is a turning point for the town and the craft group and the stadium, and we need to turn it and let's move forward, like Jack Hawthorne said. It's the way it's coming. If we didn't have Patriots Place, do the math, our OPEB wouldn't be covered. We'd be taken out of general funding every year. We wouldn't have any OPEB money. We'd be in a world of hurt. Same thing with the hotel tax, okay? The building fee, you guys gotta know what the building fee is in that. Bill, give me what's that? It's, that's a lot of one-time revenue for the town. The property tax, and then you're gonna gain over $100,000 a year in meals tax for the community to bring our OPEB down even further. Have some faith. That's what I'm asking the board to do. So.
Mark, could I say something?
Yeah.
You kind of stole my thunder because my mind was, everything that almost came out of your mouth. I was gonna say, I think the concern over large numbers of people is, we all understand that. But I think there's why the rules are there. You know, we learn to, I know you like Ginny said, not everybody up there is knowledgeable in everything. But when you have someone like the chief coming up and giving his knowledge and giving an okay, and I was interested to hear Jim talk about it as an architect's point of view. I think if that space could technically hold 1,200 people, but they're only gonna go 800 to 900, then I think it's not so much just the number of people that are there. That's what we want. We want people up there spending money. If they spend money, you make money, and the town makes money. I think if the area is suitable to that amount of people, that's the concern, like Jim said. And I think maybe there's, you know, I did a lot of research and looking at some of the properties. I didn't want to get up here and make a fool of myself and say, oh yeah, we want Splitsville. So we all did a lot of research. And we got almost 1,000 people to ask you to reconsider. So that's a lot of people in town. People are very excited about them coming. So I know Mr. Gelman said that the entertainment license can always be brought up. So if in your gut you feel like give these guys a shot, And if they screw up, then they're out $4.5 million. You know, I think that investment
It's
will
not a
make...
real company, and we keep saying that.
Well, no, but I think that investment
I
makes you
understand.
want to have, you know, responsible servers and not overcrowd and not have problems up there and have the police in there, because then what will happen is you'll come before this board or whatever board's here, and they'll say, okay, then you shut down for 2 days. And if you're shut down, or you can't serve any alcohol, then you don't make any money, the town doesn't make any money. And so I think if you feel like you've heard enough good things to give them the shot, if something isn't right, then you redress it. And next year, maybe they don't have the same entertainment license. I think that gives you guys the feeling that we have to do our best, otherwise you're going to come back up here again. You know, I mean, if you guys really thought it was just everything, you hated the whole concept, that'd be one thing, but it seems like there's more pros than cons. So, you know, I think sometimes you just have to take a shot. And if it's going to be good for the town, you know, 1,000 people said they were very interested. That's a lot of people in this town, you know, and you know, it's not like we came up to you and said, oh, 50 people want a bowl up there. A lot of people had interest. So, and like Mark said, you heard more pros than cons. So I'm sorry I'm yapping, but I kind of was thinking the way you were thinking, and you know, I think you should give them a shot.
Okay.
Can I just say a couple of words?
Yes,
Very brief.
please. After this young lady speaks, I'm going to
Thank
make a
you.
motion to close the public hearing, just so you know.
I promised myself that I would not speak before the Board of Selectmen again. The last time I spoke, we were hassling about Trader Joe's and a liquor license. Remember? Guess what? I am carded every single time I buy a bottle of wine at Trader Joe's.
Me too.
I asked you that night to take a leap of faith. I'm asking you again. Have some faith in what these people want to do. Let's bring them to Foxborough, and I promise I will never speak again before the Board of Selectmen.
Thank you. Okay, take a motion to close the public hearing.
I will make a motion to close the public hearing.
Is there a second?
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Okay. John, anything to add?
No, actually not.
Lorraine?
I just want to comment on the community policing thing. We didn't hear any discussion yet with Chief O'Leary, but you know, I'm fully confident that Ed would address our public safety needs. That's never been an issue. I think that, you know, the one thing that I just have to say it, you know, Ed standing here saying he will address public safety needs doesn't mean that he doesn't have a concern. And that is something that concerned me, as being characterized that Ed standing here saying that was an approval or a, you know, an endorsement of Splitsville. It was not. I've asked him that personally. He is fully equipped to address every public safety issue.
Why don't we ask him? Yeah, he's right.
Excuse me. Edward, please.
Public hearing's been closed.
Edward, I'll just put you on the bubble right here. Is your department ready and able to handle this establishment with working with the stadium and the policing program you got coming forward, moving forward? Are you comfortable with this?
Yes, because I've been working with the stadium. They've been very receptive to the concepts and to what we're doing in order to provide public safety. It really shouldn't matter whether it's the current applicant or future applicants. My job is to provide protection for our entire community as well as the people that come to our venues.
Thank you. Any more questions for the chief?
Chief, are you still concerned with the, I'll call it the hyper-density of liquor serving establishments?
It's not just a hyper density that we're dealing with. We have a wide variety from entertainment options, theater options, and general restaurants that don't raise particular risks. That's why we've got a blend of different operations, some that serve liquor and we haven't had a call to them in a year. Are there some that are going to have the potential of having more problems? Absolutely. But you develop plans to mitigate incidents from happening and develop systems to deal with the infrequent situations that you have to deal with.
Thank you. So like I said, I have no doubt that Chief O'Leary would be able to address any public safety issue up there, whatever it may be. You will put however many people are necessary to deal with that. I just want to make sure that what's being discussed is still detail. We're talking about details because
it'll be details and other assignments as needed to ensure the safety of the entire complex, while at the same time making sure that the rest of the community has the same coverage that they do every other night of the week.
Right.
Which is going to be very well received, you know. So we're not going to have to pull any of our police officers off to patrolling our streets with this new plan. There'll be full-time facility up there. And that's what is, because the venue is growing, and it's got to, you reach that pedestal where you need a full-time police department and a substation up there. And
but again, I understand what you're saying, but it's the details.
We just voted to close the hearing, and I'll never say not to speak, but then we need to open up the public
This is
hearing.
Our discussion.
Well, we're asking people to contribute.
I asked the chief.
We can ask.
Okay.
I just think we should have
no.
done this before we close the hearing.
You're absolutely right, James, and point of order, he's correct. All right, so reopen the public hearing for Chief O'Leary to speak. Is there a second?
So moved.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Thank you, James. Okay, Edward, anything to add?
No, I mean, yes, the potential of having a new development there gives us an opportunity to have a dialogue with the management of Patriot Place, and they've been very receptive, understanding that we want to have a successful venue that people can come up, enjoy the services that are offered there and throughout the rest of the community, and not do so to the detriment of the safety of the community.
Thank you. Okay, motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Can we wait 1 sec? Hold it. Because I want to talk some more about the capacity piece of it. Is that something we deliberate ourselves, or is
We
it?
deliberate ourselves at this point. We need to move on with this. We've got another
Because
hearing
if I'm going to be mentioning numbers, wouldn't you want to be able to comment on those numbers?
That's why we do it in the open session, before we close it. We can talk amongst ourselves, but if there's input, it needs to be open, right?
I understand that. Thank you again.
So, again, just going to the size of the venue, I can tell you what I have in my mind for a comfort level. In Howl at the Moon is around 375, and the total venue being 700.
No, those numbers won't work. You say 700?
Mm-hmm.
Which is a more than 20% reduction in our revenue on peak times?
Again, I mean, we were talking 660 at our last meeting, and we were
I think
talking.
the number was 760. I'm not sure where 660 came from. And we weren't talking a number. We were talking
I
the
actually
building commissioner.
remember 855.
What's that?
I actually remember 855 was
I
the
think we
start.
said
But
between
it was,
800 and
like I
900,
said,
and
it's
the
been a
building
moving
commissioner will
target.
determine.
Nobody's ever had an actual number on this.
Why would you pick a number that's more than 20% than what the building commissioner would otherwise allow, which is already, I mean, look in this room. You've got 60 people, 55 people. You're talking about taking 4 times the amount of these people out of a space and then saying, make your numbers work. That makes no sense. Why? It's an arbitrary number plucked out of the sky. I don't get it. I mean, we can talk about a number, but these
Just
people
a simple answer, Mark,
If all
please.
these people left, well, I'm putting it in the context. I'm not used to picking an arbitrary number and saying, it's not going to reduce my investment by 20%.
Based on a business plan. I
No, but
understand
in
that.
the context of count the people in the room, remove them, and that you're going to have the space 3 times that.
I think it might be important. We have 2 experts in this room. One is on public safety, and that's the chief, and the other is building code and capacity. That building code and capacity expert has established the building capacities at every venue in Patriot Place, and I assume also in the town of Foxborough. Arbitrary numbers, I think, get us into a difficult situation. There is someone here who can establish what that number is, and either we ask him to now or we ask him to do it as part of the process.
But I
He is the body that does this. As much as you say that the board is not capable in making certain decisions other than Jim from an architect standpoint, maybe we aren't, maybe none of the venues at Patriot Place were. Ultimately, it fell to the building inspector, and I think he has weighed in that the calculation is based on more information that he has been given, and can make that based on public safety. And then we have a public safety expert who has said that in overall in the policing aspect, he's comfortable with the ability to police it and keep it safe for the public. Anything other than those two things, I think, is not really worth the time of discussion, because we have experts. We don't have conjecture. We don't have arbitrary numbers. We don't have business models. We have experts. And
could I ask Dick to come up and have I'm tired of this board being put in a position where they're looking like they're not knowing what they're talking about or picking numbers out of the air. This has been going on for months. Numbers have been talked about. Dick has been negotiating with crap group personnel, and I just think it's time that he weigh in a little bit.
Dick, please. Told you, it's only lawyers.
Don't do that to me. First of all, the board is going to have a lot of consideration on a lot of issues, and Dave and Cindy and I are going to have to figure out, if you vote to approve it, where those conditions go. Do they go in the entertainment license? Do they go into the liquor license? And as you all know, we've been negotiating a settlement agreement caused by the influx of another liquor license that's going to have to address policing plans. That settlement agreement, as I've told all of you, is an agreement that needs to be a separate contract, but also needs to be a condition of one of these licenses. And frankly, there's no way that the three of us and Jim are going to be able to do that tonight. So even if the board were inclined to vote tonight in favor of the licenses, you'd still have to review the settlement agreement, which is yet to be drafted, although we're pretty close on principles, and all of the conditions. It may be that there are more conditions that need to be imposed, and certainly, as Jenny pointed out, we need to define some of the conditions. What exactly does a holiday mean? What exactly is a stadium event? So all of these things are going to happen. My suggestion would be, if the board is comfortable to vote on the scope of it tonight, you can do that, subject to approval of a settlement agreement and conditions as the board wants. In terms of the number, the occupancy number, I guess while we were talking, you folks said you wanted to take a break. That's what my associate tells me. Maybe that wouldn't be a bad idea, to see if you can come up with a number that's...
Dick, to interrupt you, they've already stated that that's not going to work as far as the numbers go.
I'm sorry, Mark, what I heard was 370.
What number could work is occupancy.
375 and 700 wouldn't work.
Yeah, well,
so
you said 700 would work and 375 just wouldn't work. But you know what? We need to move on. We cannot beat this to death anymore with this. I understand, but your number's going to come back, and there's still probably going to be a disagreement in those numbers. We're not voting on numbers tonight. We're voting whether or not we're going to give them a liquor license, and then you're going to continue the negotiations, correct?
Yes.
And then we'll go from there.
But I think that's true, Mark. But I think, in fairness, that one of the things we're going to have to solve publicly is the occupancy numbers, and I haven't heard back from you folks what number it is you could economically live with, and that might be persuasive to the board.
Economically,
and just so that you know, like, we've been discussing these numbers. I didn't kind of make these things up, and so it was my understanding there was some some potential here to come to some middle ground. Because, again, my concern is public safety, public need, and the size of the venue.
Would it be fair to say that, as I've already stated, we have an expert for public size of space, and an expert of public safety here?
That's not the question that I have. I fully believe that the occupancy is determined by Bill. Like he stated tonight is 900, whatever it is, but
But why would this applicant be limited when no other applicant
That's
is
exactly what
limited?
I was just gonna bring up, and, you know, but the thing is, what makes this misleading is numbers were brought to the board, and now they've changed in the last
But I'd also
24 hours, 48 hours.
But I'd also offer no other applicant for Patriot Place has had occupancy stipulations on their liquor license.
And this is all prior to having Toby Keats and having some situations up there with large amounts of venues, and that got a little out of hand.
And I think it's fair then to say that the policing efforts and the changes in the impact and intensity of Patriot Place have got to be realized, and the chief is prepared to do that. That's a different discussion. And stipulating that this applicant falls under different criteria than any other applicant who has successfully opened up at Patriot Place just doesn't seem fair.
Dick, I heard you say that the board has it within its
Yeah, you certainly have it within, yes, you do, and I would really urge the applicant to talk amongst yourselves, talk with your counsel, take 5 minutes if that's okay, Mark, just 5 minutes, come back with the number that you can live with, and I think...
Preliminary basis based on a year and then be revisited,
Yeah,
or?
sure, absolutely. You come back with, you can revisit it. You don't have to wait the year, Mark. See how that number is working from a public safety point of view, and then we'll revisit it. I know there's an initial investment, I get that. But if you guys can...
If these gentlemen want to go over there, we're going to move on back to action, and you can come back in 5 minutes.
I would really urge you to do that.
Okay? All right, Sean, back to action, please. I'm going to go to action because I'm not going to start another public hearing while we're having a public hearing. So, all right.
Okay, item number 5 is a Hackney license application. The applicant's name is Abdul N. Schumann of 100 Winfield Street, Norwood, Massachusetts, and he's applying to work for the on-time taxi service. So I'll move that we accept the Hackney license application from a Mr. Abdul N. Schumann from 100 Winfield Street, Norwood, Massachusetts.
Second that motion.
All those in favor?
Thank you.
Okay. Next, John, please.
Okay, item number 6. I move that the Board of Selectmen appoint Virginia Coppola, 74 Fairway Lane, to the Town of Foxborough Capital Improvement Planning Committee for a term expiring 5/1/2014.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And one,
I'm recusing myself.
okay, so 401, please. Next, number 7.
Item number 7, I move that the Board of Selectmen appoint Thomas H. Freeman of 6 Kersey Road in Foxborough to the Town of Foxborough Capital Improvement Planning Committee with a term expiring 5/1/2014.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. Everybody, if you're gonna have discussions, could you go outside, please? Because I can hear you here, and the people won't be able to hear us. Thank you. Okay, John?
Item number 8 is, I have 2 gift acceptances. The first is a gift being donated by Jerry M. Cirillo in memory of Carol M. Cirillo, and it's for $110 for the renewal of the Roger Williams Park Zoo Pass. I move that we accept this, and thank you, Jerry, for your generosity.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The next gift is also going to the Board and Library. It's a donation of $300 for the renewal of the Pawtucket Red Sox 2014 pass and the renewal of the pass to the New England Patriots Hall of Fame. The donor is the Foxborough Lions Club, and again, our gratitude.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0 again.
Okay. I have 7 gift acceptances. Wow. Okay. The item number 7, there's 7 of these. These are gifts that are being given to the Board of Recreation. This gift consists of 6 $10 gift cards worth $60 to be used as raffle items at our father-daughter dances. The donor is Eagle Brook Saloon in Norfolk, Massachusetts. And again, thank you, Eagle Brook Saloon, for your generosity. And I move that we accept this gift of 10 gift cards going to the Board of Recreation.
Second.
Just since it's 6 or 7, maybe we can read them all, and then make one motion at the end.
Let's do that, Sean.
Okay.
Just for that department.
Okay. The second gift is a vase filled with chocolate bars and candy. There's 2 of them worth $20 each. And the donor is Stop and Shop, 141 Main Street. Third, again, going to the Recreation Department, is a handmade scarf. By the way, these are all raffle items that are going to be used for the father-daughter dances. Two handmade scarves worth $25. The donor is Christine St. Pierre of the Recreation Department. The next gift, also going to the Recreation Department, is a gift certificate for 6 cupcakes, 2 gifts worth $20 each, and the donor is Cupcake Charlie's in Patriot Place. Next is 4 tickets to One Direction concert. There's 2 sets, worth $308 for each set of 4 tickets. Again, going to the Recreation Department. The donor is the Craft Organization. Next is 6 tickets to a New England Revolution game, 2 sets of 6, worth $396. Again, to be used as a raffle item for the father-daughter dance, and the donor is the Craft Organization. Lastly, again, a gift going to the Recreation Department, a gift certificate for a Day of Beauty. Actually, there's 2 tickets worth $55 each, and the donor is Mark Santucci of La Bella Vita Salon in Foxborough.
It's Maura Santucci. Maura Santucci.
I have Maria.
It's on the...
Okay, sorry, Maria, it's Mara. And again, thanks to all the donors, and I'm certain that the father-daughter dance will be a success because of this.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great. Okay, John, number 10.
Okay. Here's my list. Well, this is a...
Excuse me, John, for one second. Should we postpone a couple of things on this? I mean, there's people out here for a public meeting, public hearings. This could... Should we just...
Want to just get into that?
No, I can't open go into 2. I'll get more confused than you know.
Maybe they're ready now.
I mean, finish this, but you got a couple of things on the agenda here. Annual town warrant.
I mean, you could just accept that tonight, and you're not going to vote on every one of those
All right,
tonight.
so then,
That's a
and when they
2-minute
wage
deal.
things off, and then we got, all right, so we'll do this, okay. Those 2 of those items are off pretty much anyways. Okay, sorry, John, go ahead. Please.
Okay, the next item is to approve the 5th annual Harvard Pilgrim finish at the 50 road race. The 10K run will begin outside Gillette Stadium, proceed on to Route 1, then streets of Foxborough and back to the stadium to finish at the 50-yard line. This is being requested by Phil Buttafuoco.
So this has been done for 5 years. I guess the only concern is that it does involve some street closures, and both the fire chief and the police chief have signed off on it. But it's the night before 4th of July, and there's some fireworks and things up there. The chief's still here, I think. So, as long as you're comfortable and he's comfortable with the idea of the street foreclosures, and that has to be publicized enough so that people know they can get to their home if they need to. So, Chief, I don't know if you wanted to weigh in on that.
This is a new route that has been developed on behalf of the stadium for the Harvard Pilgrim road race that has been run several times in the last few years. They are awaiting to see from the Department of Transportation whether they could utilize a lane on Route 1, leaving the P1 exit point for pedestrians to run down to North Street, come down North Street, Beach, down to Edwards, back across Young, down North Street, and back into the stadium. That was a variation of a route that they used last year, and by restructuring the race participants, it went much smoother. In fact, the people that were running the race last year, the day before, actually did have people out going door to door in those neighborhoods that might have been impacted. We did a reverse 911 call, just alerting people, plus there was adequate notice in the different print media as well as Facebook.
Yeah, so I don't have an issue with that. I've actually been what do we call those?
Are you a participant in the run, Mark?
No,
I must
no,
have
I'm the
missed
guy
you.
who stands and just tells people not to go. What do they call them? Road marshals, yeah. Every year, because it's a charity that goes on, and the company that runs it donates money to the organization that gets all us volunteers, and it's a great time. I mean, it's a little warm, but better than being cold like we are right now. So I'm in favor of this, John. So was there a second on that?
I don't think so.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great. Moving forward,
Okay,
John?
the next item, I move that we appoint James A. Carey, 1004 Pheasant Lane, Foxborough, Massachusetts, as a constable with a term expiring 3/11/2017.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay.
This isn't over.
Next.
I move that we issue a one-day wine license for a one-day charity fundraising by wine auctions and wine tastings to be held on 3/14/2014. The requesting party is the MMAS Annual Gala. And what they're doing, I guess it's a charity fundraiser, and they're requesting a one-day, actually, they only say a wine license.
Mm-hmm.
Second.
All those in favor?
I'm going to recuse myself. It's one of my clients.
Okay, that's fine. So 4-0-1. Okay, Orpheum up again for beer this time.
Okay, I move that we issue a one-day beer and wine license for the dates 3/15/14, 4/4/14, 5/31/14 to the Orpheum Theater for the events on Saturday, March 15th from 7 to 11, Rhythm Room Concert. Friday, April 4th from 6 to 10 p.m., Postcards from Heaven. And Saturday, May 31st from 6 p.m. to 11:30, a blues festival.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, a couple more.
Now, Bob, tell me about this one. Are we only supposed, this is for information, or?
It's for information. If you have any comments, it's their annual budget review scheduled for next Tuesday at 6:30. It's a public hearing. You're welcome to attend. It's a standard.
We don't have to vote on that.
Yeah, the next three are just,
For
there's no
information.
vote on any of these, actually.
It's just for your information. If you need to, if you want to comment, if you feel that you want someone from town to attend, and you know, whatever your comments will be.
Okay, so we've got, excuse me, with action. Dick, are they ready to come back? Please.
Yeah, they are.
Gentlemen, if you could come, return, please. Ladies and gentlemen.
Mr. Chairman, I'd say just a word if you don't mind before we start. If I can say a word before we start.
Sure. We haven't closed the public hearing, so we're good. Okay, welcome back, everybody. Our newly hired town manager, Bill, would like to speak, and he is, actually, you are a contract employee right now, aren't you?
Effectively, I guess, but just serving as in an unofficial capacity, I would say. But let me just say a couple things. First of all, this obviously has been an issue that you've talked about for a long time, and you've heard a lot of information about. Typically, in a situation like this, when we have hearings like this, in my current situation, is I rely heavily on my own staff members to advise me. That would be the police chief in this case, the building inspector, the town council, fire chief. Those are the people that I would hear from. And I would rely, and then I would present that same information to you as a board, to rely heavily on that information, because ultimately, they're the experts in the field. I'm not an expert in licensing per se, that they are the people that I rely on. And I think you as a board should rely on them too, because they're the people that we hire and that we support in doing their jobs. The second thing is that I can convey to you that my experience in dealing with a similar type of venue in my current community is that it's worked very, very well. We've had virtually no issues with them from an experience level. Public safety-wise or otherwise, they do provide a good, sound safety plan. They do provide a crowd control plan, and the system works very, very well. In fact, they sort of set the tone for how they handle crowd control. So I think those are the kind of things that, if I were in your position voting on an issue like this, I'd want to have those kind of answers. You've heard from your chief, you've heard from your building inspector, you've heard from your town council, and you have a special counsel here as well, from my understanding, on this as well. So those are the people I would rely on in making this decision. purely from a process perspective, if I were to take the time to look at that, those are people I would talk to during that week of time. It would not be my preference to try and delay this unnecessarily if the board has enough information to make a decision on this tonight. So, thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Well, again, we tried to listen to the prior hearings in this one, and in an effort to compromise and settle it and all that, I think we could live with, and again, we would disagree with how we got to the number, but live with 400 and within the entertainment space, 800 total occupancy, which is 100 people is a lot of people, as I was indicated before. We would like the right to come back in 3 months or 4 months or 6 months to revisit that based on our controlling the building and responsibly vending and doing that, whatever the right time frame is or is allowable, because we'll obviously put a performance on the line and say, look, we're delivering it. So in an effort to get things resolved, we would put those numbers forth and hope you consider them.
Okay, thank you very much. Motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Okay. Dick, you had mentioned a certain... I'm trying
Just to follow, Mark, I've taken the liberty to draft the motion for board's consideration.
Could you hand it to the clerk, please?
Using the numbers that they just...
I wrote one out too, Dick, so we'll see how close we
We'll
are.
compare it.
17 pages.
Yours is less expensive.
It is. Barely, but I'll do it. All right, I move that the Board of Selectmen approve the application by Splitsville Patriot Place for a liquor license and an entertainment license, subject to a capacity limitation of 400 for the Howell Entertainment and 800 for total occupancy, that the applicant may reapply after 6 months of operation for an increase in such numbers, and that this board shall continue the consideration of the matter until March 11th, 2014. Imposition?
Or imposing.
Proposing such conditions that the board may impose.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. Okay, any more discussion? Yep.
So, Dick, for a final approval of that motion, or I guess...
So that's clear.
I'm trying to get to the point of the mitigation that we'd been discussing all along.
Okay, so if the board votes to approve the motion that John just read, you're granting the license, but you're going to be next week imposing additional conditions, such as the terms of the settlement agreement, such as the definitions that we talked about, and that'll give all Cindy and Dave and I a chance to work with Jim and get back to you as we have been doing. Excuse me. With the settlement agreement, with definitions that you'll all find acceptable. You'll come back next week to specify what those conditions are, sign up the settlement agreement. That's the process.
Can we do that all at the same time? Can we be able to have the settlement agreement in front of us to study first before we make this vote to...
Yeah, I'll make sure that I'll get that to the board members individually prior to your meeting.
So you're saying we should wait till we see that?
I'm saying we should wait till we see that.
You could.
You could. I'm not prepared to, though. I'll make that on. Dick, you said next week?
Yeah, I talked to Bob. Well, the reason for that is you've got the March 12th ABCC hearing. And
So this would be the only item on for that is to...
Okay, because we've had more special meetings, and we realize we've had like almost one a week for last year. I can count the ones that we didn't.
Actually, Dick, I'm in California next week.
Yeah, I mean, Dave, I don't know if you can, if that date's a drop dead date. I'd have to defer to Dave on the March 12th.
We do that? Yeah.
We need to move forward with this. You know, we had so much discussion. Excuse me?
Can Dave address it?
Dave? Welcome back. Watch the mic.
I'm not going there. The March 12th date is a date for hearing of the matter, you know, we can agree to anything with respect to that. However, My understanding from the applicant is that because of the time it's taken to get to this point, they'd like to hold on to that date as the date for hearing. I have to respect that in this hearing process. An applicant, has not many choices regarding dates. They're arbitrarily selected, so they're not inclined to continue that at this particular point in time. Understanding that, it seemed to make sense, should you vote tonight, contingent upon our ability to settle all of the details that have been talked about. The expectation is that if the number of you that could be here were here next week, that the finalization could occur on that night, prior to the scheduled hearing, of course, the next day. That was in part the plan.
Also, John, while you may not be physically here tonight, we certainly would provide you with all of the information, get your input, just so you were here.
Okay. Everybody satisfied now?
I just want to say, I think it would be important for all of us to be here.
Well, you know what? He's gone away quite a bit. You've been away.
I didn't miss any meetings, Mark.
No, you didn't. But we couldn't schedule one in all due respect because you both were away for Bill's contract negotiations. So it put it out a couple of weeks. And I understand that. Like I said, we've had special meeting after special meeting. And not everybody can be here.
I think we have to have everybody here for this one. This is an important one.
Then, John, what day do you leave?
Monday the 10th. I'm back on Thursday night.
So the Thursdays after, it wouldn't work.
No.
It has to be before the 11th. So
it would have to be this week.
Yeah, and we have to do it Friday at 5 o'clock. I mean, what are we going to do here? We'll have to figure that out later. But if Lorraine wants to follow 5 minutes here.
But the other alternative is that the hearing has to happen, and we can't vote till after that.
Mr. Chairman, one suggestion might be that the applicant consider moving the hearing past Thursday, a couple day delay, just to kind of get the situation resolved. So the board has the opportunity to review it as a full board.
It's going to be one or the other, and we can figure that out later. But Lorraine wants the full
to
board here. I'm fine with that. So it's either before the 11th or
let me just say
after.
something. That
Is this so, instead of voting tonight?
No, we're voting. I'm voting tonight.
So what's the second meeting for, just to codify?
To work on the conditions.
If
you were to vote
conditions that
tonight,
were
it would
sent
be
back and forth?
conditional
Yeah.
on a bunch of things that still need to be hammered out. And that would be the final presentation on those conditions. You would have to vote on those conditions as a board in an open meeting, a fully posted open meeting.
So just so I'm clear, these are the conditions that were attached, the attorney had sent us and we've looked at?
Yeah. Also, just talk to Jim, and if the board can vote tonight in order to accommodate Lorraine's desire and John to be here, if you can vote tonight, and then we'll have the conditions to be voted upon at a date after March 11th when John.
Can I amend the motion to include subject to the conditions of the settlement agreement?
He did, didn't you?
No, that's not in the motion.
It's not in.
You can. My intention was that when I said other conditions, I meant the settlement agreement as well. But sure, you can add that.
Yeah, but it wasn't just other conditions. You didn't say the
But
settlement.
also, as I understand it, if the board does vote affirmatively tonight, then we can put off until a later date. I guess your next is the 18th, the voting on the imposition of the conditions. And that won't be harmful to the ABCC proceeding. Does that satisfy?
I think when I spoke with you today, I had mentioned that, I thought it was going to be important that we would have all the conditions clear in front of us before we took the vote to approve the license. So that's really...
Apparently that's not what's happening.
I don't know. Is anyone else on the board interested in that?
I think it's important that we get the this settlement agreement understood, because that really is the new foundation for this. What turned out to be a simple matter of moving a license has now turned into be a somewhat unrecognizable scenario.
Dick, correct me if I'm wrong, but by making it conditional, you have to happy with all the terms of a settlement agreement before it becomes an official acceptance. But at least by voting on it tonight, you're giving them the direction to work on those conditions and get them to the point where everybody's happy with them. So,
And as a practical matter, John, if you're not happy with the terms of the conditions, you can impose a condition that they can't live with, and it's not going to happen. So yes, in order for council to be comfortable putting over the ABCC case, though, they need to know that we've at least gotten that far. And so you have to be confident enough that the settlement agreement and the other conditions are going to be to your satisfaction.
Okay.
That's clear. It's a little different procedurally, Lorraine, but it's a moving
I'm
target.
just working from past experience, Dick. Seriously.
No, not with these gentlemen. So, like I said, it's a turning point. This is really a turning point, and we need to move forward. You know, everybody talks about liquor licenses, everybody talks about this and everything else. You get a CVS that's being built up there. Does anybody ever talk about how many times CVSs get robbed, or how many times drugs are stolen out of CVS and the security and all the other stuff? We focus on one thing. That is more dangerous on my block. Why do you think so many towns block them? And I hate to use the word and mention another company, but it's not just that drug company, it's multiple drug companies. They don't even deliver certain drugs to those companies anymore because they know when they come and they rob them. Because the dependency on drugs we have in the communities, never mind alcohol. We've dodged a bullet, and I'll say it publicly. All 4 or 5 members of this board voted not to have a casino in this town. There was a public outcry for 2 years. I'm talking about the sitting board, Linda. All right?
I know well what you're talking about.
But, so I'm saying, yeah, back in the time, it was a 3-2 vote. But we would have had a casino now, probably coming to Foxborough, where we had 50 liquor licenses you would have no control over. None. You wouldn't have any control over anything. It's a state-run facility. You'd have nothing, no control of it. This is a small venue. This is nothing compared to what this town's been through. We need to move forward. It's always, oh, I need this, I need that. We need to move forward here. It's like we're in a standstill.
I think we are. I think we have moved forward.
And 4 months? This is, stop. I'm not gonna put up with that. I'm gonna vote in favor of this tonight. Well, I'll take it on the chin later if I'm wrong, but I have full faith in Chief O'Leary, Town Council, and I have full faith in the Building Department and the whole Police Department, Public Safety Department. I have full faith in these gentlemen.
In our acting town manager, who's been with us since the beginning.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like we're flying without a town manager.
And it's time to move forward. This is just, it's just totally wrong what's happening here. These people, we need a positive vote, we need to move forward. That's all I'm gonna say. I am voting tonight.
Can you read the motion one more time?
Yep. Did you fix it up? That should be 18. No, I'll read it, yeah. I move that the Board of Selectmen approve the application by Splitsville Patriot Place for a liquor license and an entertainment license, subject to a capacity limitation of 400 for the Howell Entertainment and 800 for the total occupancy. That the applicant may reapply after 6 months of operation for an increase in such numbers. And that the board shall continue the consideration of this matter until March 11th, 2014, for the imposition of such conditions as the board may impose.
That will now be the 18th, I believe.
All right.
March 18th.
I'll amend that to be the 18th.
Seconded by James, right?
Yep.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. 4, 1,
Yep.
1 against. Okay. Congratulations. 10-minute recess. Sorry.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah. Boy, that's right.
Okay, Paul, we on? Thank you. Okay, everybody, welcome back. John had read into the record earlier a public hearing notice for restraint of a dog. So I'm going to turn it right over to our dog officer.
On February 16th, a dog belonging to Ms. Bear attacked a neighbor's dog. The dog Suede was on the property with Diana outside. She was chopping ice, and Mr.
Evers,
thank you, was walking past the home with his 2 labs on leash. Suede attacked one of Mr. Evers' dogs, causing significant damage. Hit the dog on the neck and caused several wounds that were treated at Tufts Emergency Clinic. The dog, there is not a history of the dog running loose. There's some confusion apparently. It was not, the interim order was for this incident. I think there may be a copy out there that showed a different date. I was using a template, and so the wrong date was on it, suggesting that in fact there was a interim order from another date. That is not the case.
Okay, so in your report, I've read it, but for the public, what do you suggest?
I'm recommending that you label the dog dangerous and choose from the options listed, and I'm recommending that the order, you make my interim order permanent, that the dog
Be muzzled?
Be muzzled and has to be walked on a 3-foot lead.
Okay. Any board members have any? John, you haven't been involved with one of these yet, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you have? Okay.
Yeah, we had one in the summer.
Okay, so everybody's familiar with the situation? It's just a different one. Does anybody from the public wish to be heard on this? Seeing that everybody's left, in case you can't see from at home. Make a motion to close. Somebody make a motion to close the public.
I'm not sure whether Ms. Bear wants to say anything.
Do you want to say anything? I just asked.
Am I allowed to?
Oh, absolutely. That's why I just said
called on. I'm willing to comply with the muzzle and the leash. I don't feel that he should be labeled dangerous. I've had him for 4.5 years. He's about 5, so he did have a prior home to me. He was under my supervision, and unfortunately he did run off the property. He began barking at Mr. Evers as he was walking his dogs, and in the time that I went to go get him, he bit his dog, which I feel extremely terrible about, but I haven't had an incident with him prior. He lives with other animals. We have a cat and another dog. I'm not sure what happened, but I do want people in the neighborhood to feel safe, so I'm willing to comply with the leash and the muzzle, but I just don't feel he should be labeled dangerous.
Mark, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
But in order to impose those conditions, don't we have to declare him a dangerous dog?
That was my question actually earlier, but
under the statute, I believe that to be the case.
It states your options are to dismiss, label him nuisance, or label him dangerous. If you label him nuisance, the hearing authority deems a dog a nuisance dog. The hearing authority may further order the owner or keeper of the dog to take remedial action to ameliorate the cause of the nuisance behavior.
Which I have contacted multiple people. I was trying to get an evaluation done, and I actually had one scheduled for this Sunday, but unfortunately she sent me an email Friday night telling me that her schedule was booked. I brought the email.
Evaluation for what?
I wanted to see his behavior because I never had an issue with him, and then all of a sudden he attacks his dog, and it's not that he's never seen his dogs before. Like I walk my dogs in the neighborhood all the time, and I've never had that reaction. So I was a bit taken back by the situation. I was very upset and very unhappy, and I felt terrible about what happened to his dog and that it had to suffer. So I took it upon myself to contact multiple people. Even some of them reached out to her to try to, because he was under quarantine, to see if maybe they could come to
my house and have him evaluated. But due to the short amount of time, well, this happened on February 16th, and trying to find somebody to come to my house during the quarantine was not very easy. And then this woman who did commit herself sent me an email on Friday like I can't do it Sunday, and recommended 2 other ones. So I do plan to have him fully evaluated, and if this is something, you know, if he's a liability, I will take whatever measures that person recommends. I understand that if he's dangerous, there's other people and there's other children and there's other dogs in the neighborhood. I would have to have him euthanized, or if it's something that I can work with him on, that I would, you know, enroll him in behavioral classes or whatnot. But I am 100% willing to comply with the muzzle and the leash.
Okay. Sue, do you think we should continue this public hearing in a couple of weeks to give you that opportunity, or is your expertise to, no?
Regardless of what a behavior says, he meets the definition of a dangerous dog, a dog that either without justification attacks a person or domestic animal causing physical injury or death. Regardless of what a behavior says, it doesn't change what happened. So I would, regardless, I can't foresee.
You would recommend that no matter what? Okay.
Yes, I can't foresee the behavior saying anything that would make me change my mind about that label.
So you provided a copy of the statute, and it has the definition of dangerous dog, and that's what that is. I don't see the definition for nuisance, and do you know what that is offhand, or you have that just to give the board a comparison?
More barking and...
Right. I think we all understand what it is, but statutorily, I'd like you to be comfortable the difference.
I think we have it in our
general bylaws.
No, I don't have a definition,
Okay.
but yes, that was what I think of when you say nuisance. Is maybe the dog that chases a kid on the bicycle but has never bitten, or usually it's barking and that kind of activity, not causing harm.
Okay. So, regardless, I think the board would...
I do appreciate
the effort.
The dog owner, Diana's attitude, and she has taken this matter very seriously, and I do believe her that she didn't have any knowledge that this would happen, either that he would leave the property when he was under her supervision, because there has not been any history of this dog running loose, and that she also is very sincere about recognizing that she's not taking it lightly, and she recognizes this, the ramifications and the impact on her neighbor and his animal.
I'll tell you,
but nonetheless, I still recommend.
I say it every time we have a hearing like this. If you don't have an electric fence, get one. I have dogs. I have an electric fence. And people say that they don't work. I've had a very aggressive dog, and it works. So,
he's never
but it just limitates, it gets rid of all your liability of that dog running off that property with that collar on, and you'll never, I can't say never ever, but I'll tell you 99.999% of the time, that dog, especially a smaller dog, is not blowing through that electric fence, and you'll never have this situation again. Mm-hmm. You know, I can't make you do that, unless the board voted. We could, as a whole, put that restriction on you. I'm suggesting that at this point. Okay? So, I mean, we've had dogs my whole life. I know how they can spook, and they can do exactly what your dog did with no justification or signs of it coming. Trust me, I know. So, I would just at this time take the recommendations of the Animal Control Officer. Would you all agree?
Yeah.
Okay. You want to close the public hearing?
Okay, I move that we close the public hearing.
Second.
All's in favor? Aye. Okay, John?
Okay, I move that the Board of Selectmen declare a dog named Suede, owned by Diana Ferreira, do I have that right? Okay. A dangerous dog, and that the dog be muzzled and be leashed on a 3-foot leash at a 300-pound tensile strength.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, good luck.
Thanks.
Sorry to keep you waiting all night.
No problem. Hope we get that bowling going.
And we're all set with the, oh, no, the warrant, right? Good.
I just think for public, you need to, again, reiterate that the wage and salary is not going to happen tonight.
Yeah, we had an agenda item for 8:30, the Board of Selectmen wage and salary discussion. It's off of the agenda because it's a little premature at this point in time. And 8:45 was on a lot later than that. Now, annual town meeting warrant. Now, Bob, were you suggesting that we do with the warrant tonight?
Well, so the warrant is for your initial presentation. You accept the warrant with the number of articles and with the idea that you're going to have to vote on each one of them individually at some point in time. We're at the very early part of the process.
Mhm.
Allows everybody to vet the articles, and either beginning at next meeting, I suggest that it be on again and that you can start going through some of the articles. Obviously, there are some that are very common to every annual town meeting that you can probably, as a group, accept those and move on. There are some that you may want to hear from planning board or a building inspector, or, you know, so if you have an idea tonight that some of those articles you want to bring them in, you can invite them to attend the meeting and give you their highlights, and then you can decide whether you want to vote to support the articles. So tonight you're just voting to accept the articles. It's not expressing any intent of either support or non-support. It's just to accept the articles so we can start moving them through the process. AdCom has already gotten a draft with the idea that some of them, you know, the language is going to change. They're going to be vetted by council, and, you know, typically there are changes to some of the language. But for the ones that are pretty typical, those are pretty much ready to go. And I think Randy supplied all of the financial information. And so it's just a question of accepting them tonight and then reviewing them at a future date.
Okay, two questions. One, is the warrant closed?
The warrant is closed.
Been closed.
We didn't vote to close it, though.
There was one late submission of an unpaid bill article.
Okay.
Just want to make sure that had an opportunity to get in.
Okay, I thought you were going to add that into the...
I sent that to Sandy today, but I'm not sure if it made it into this version.
Yeah, it probably was not in the certification, but that wasn't
thought
going
she
to be
said,
wrapped into...
it wasn't in her email.
Was that going to be wrapped into...
No, it's going to be its own...
Oh, okay, all right. My misunderstanding.
Second question is, if we approve this warrant in its current form, does this mean that all these warrants will find their way to town meeting? Or do we have an opportunity to remove some of the articles?
No, you have to, you know, vote support and non-support, and some of them have to be vetted out. Some questions have been raised about some of them. You know, for instance, just the legislation one. You may not be ready, or you may not feel like the legislation
that
for
won't
the
even be close
liquor
to ready.
licenses.
Read my mind, yeah.
Yeah. You know, so
Won't even be close
they
to
can
ready.
be maybe removed from this and put on at another town meeting down the road.
Okay, so this is still in draft form. We can alter the order. We could alter the composition of it.
Yep.
Okay.
So I don't recall closing.
Yeah, I don't recall
closing
we
the
didn't
warrant
vote to close
process,
the warrant.
or even looking at any of these up to.
It's
till now.
when I say closed, it's closed from the standpoint that we had asked people to get them in by a certain date. That date is long since passed. We don't anticipate any other short of trying to take care of some financial matters.
Doesn't the warrant close automatically by bylaw? There's a date after...
That's a date when they're supposed to be submitted. It officially gets closed by this board. And, you know, with the exception of that one article, we don't expect any other requests to be made.
Okay.
We got enough of them, that's for sure. There's enough articles in there right now.
So when we vote to close, it means that there can't be any more additions, but say at our next meeting, can we have a discussion, like, for example, this Thursday, a meeting with the Billboard Advisory Committee, and we are going to be discussing whether or not it makes sense to
push that to a later date.
Right, because it is so complicated.
Yeah, so it's just the
we
idea
would
of
take that off.
accepting it, and things can be taken off, or...
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Can we schedule that for the next meeting?
Sure.
The next scheduled meeting?
Next scheduled meeting,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
Bob, when we vote to support or not support the individual articles, if that particular warrant article has been before the AdCom, and even though I know they haven't voted on it, can we have the ad come in and find out what their discussions were about?
You will have a meeting with them. Typically, you do have a meeting to, vet some of them out, I believe. So,
But they might be working on some of these right now, and they're gonna drop off, so we might be, I think your point is we don't wanna waste AdCom's time.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of these things are just annual, warrant articles. They're just nothing they even have to look
Right,
at.
but if they've already started to dive into the sign bylaw, for
Yeah,
instance.
well, that's definitely a concern, or the liquor license legislation is a concern, yeah.
But, we probably should take, 15, 20 minutes next meeting to kind of go through them. And the ones that we know you support on an annual basis, you just say that. And then the ones you want to hear from other people, like planning or whatever. And if you have a good sense of the sign bylaw one, we can start to maybe pick off a few that don't meet muster at this point.
Okay. All right.
And I think we'll know from the, the liquor legislation one, part of the discussion with the stadium, with the Splitsville thing, maybe you make that determination during the next week or so that that's maybe not ripe yet, and it would be better suited at another meeting.
Yeah.
So there's still time for that.
Anybody else? Okay. So you want us to vote to accept this?
Well, I think since we have the other one,
Unpaid bill article.
yeah, you can accept it with the addition of the,
We're voting to close it.
yeah,
With
with the exception
including
of,
that.
The unpaid bill.
yeah.
We're voting to close it.
What article number would that be? 30?
852.
You may reorder the whole thing.
It could be, just a shuffle too. so,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll depend on my motion getters out here.
37, so that would be number 38. Okay, I will move that the Board of Selectmen close the annual town warrant.
38 articles.
There's 37 now? And including the unpaid bill, which would be the 38th article.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay.
Do you need a motion to accept this, or just?
No, that's fine.
Okay, that was enough.
Yeah.
Now we need a motion to go into executive session for the one particular reason.
Okay. Motion, I move that we enter into executive session to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel, or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel, Randy Scollins, then to adjourn from executive session solely to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Roll call, James?
Yes.
Ginny?
Yes.
Mark, yes. Lorraine?
Yes.
And John?
Yes.
Okay, good night, everybody. Thank you.